Woohoo! Well, hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Talk Power BI. Hey, if you haven't subscribed, that's the best way to catch these. Subscribe and click that bell so you're notified whenever I go live to answer your Power BI questions. And also join the Talk Power BI Insiders Club at talkpowerbi.com. I have some exciting news about that today. So if you're watching us online, just drop in a hi. Tell me where you're watching from, and I love meeting new people through this. Love saying hello. And we do have Chris and Greg on the phone with us. That's from our Learn Power BI family. The students have a special pass where they join over the phone. All right, so yeah, if you're watching online, say hi. We're here today to talk about Power BI. Greg, Chris, let me check in with you guys. How's it going? Greg, haven't heard from you in a bit.
Yeah, it's been a while. How are you?
Doing great. Yeah, how are things on your end? I know you were eyeing some pretty interesting Power BI projects.
Yes, I am. Still working with several transportation clients and um, working through the challenges that are Power BI and some of the modeling techniques.
Yeah,
So,
nice. Is this mostly in California or elsewhere as well?
uh, California and Texas.
All right, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So I imagine you do have to. I mean, these are pretty kind of high level projects, so you do have to kind of go in person. So there might be a little bit of travel there, right?
I've been fortunate. I've been able to do it remotely.
Oh, that's great. I love that. I love that. Yeah. I mean, frankly, I love meeting people in person, but it's pretty amazing. I like kind of web conferences, and I like when if both parties have their webcam turned on and so forth. It's yeah, it can be pretty good. All right, that's great.
Thank you.
All right, and of course we have Steve joining us as well.
Hey, Avi.
Good to have you here, Steve. Steve is also a moderator. He's gonna, when I can't keep an eye on the chat box, then Steve is gonna help me there. Let's see, who do we have? Griffith Ben from St. Louis. Juliet is here, watching from Olympus. That's great. And Jen Abel says hi, Jen. Always good to see you here. Gonzalo says greetings from Buenos Aires, Argentina. How exciting is that? So, did I have any announcements? Maybe two. Actually, there's maybe a few. Let's see. So let's go through announcements and really quick, and then we'll proceed from there. So this is announcements. What's going on in our world? So real Power BI. So those. Yeah, I think there's a video on my channel which you guys can check out. Let's see. Let me bring it up. But that we're kicking off really soon. And I actually have something really exciting to share about Real Power BI, which I posted, I think this morning the post went out. So Real Power BI, the idea is simple. We bring in real businesses with real BI problems, and we solve that in a class setting led by students. And I think it's like the bee's knees. I think it's the best thing ever. And they can be so much benefits. Of course, the business gets their project done for free, right, by qualified professionals. And again, I sometimes call them students, but a lot of them have been using Power BI and Power Pivot. Some of them have been using it almost as long as me. So yeah, these are definitely kind of Power BI professionals in a mix, superstars in the making. And so yeah, and of course they have all the guidance and support, not just from me, but from the Learn Power BI community as well, the other real Power BI project participants. So that's going on. But the exciting part there is that, so of course the business gets help. These folks get a real world experience. But I had this hope. I had heard of other programs who operate this way. In fact, the recent one that I came across is this genm.co. And the idea is that you hire an intern for 3 months for free. And these are qualified interns, same as our Power BI students. These are qualified students. So you hire them for free. And again, it's not really free because what you're doing is giving them kind of work experience, right? So that's what you're giving them, and then you have a choice to hire them or not at the end of 3 months. So that's exciting. So I didn't know where Real Power BI is going to go, but I had asked when people were submitting projects, I'd asked this question like, well, so thanks for submitting the Real Power BI project, and great, we'll look through that and try to match you up with one of the Power BI professionals in a mix. But then I asked that, hey, now if it was a wild success, right? I mean, if you got awesome results with this project, would you be open to the idea of continuing to work on a paid basis? And 6 out of 6 submitters said yes. So that's good. And again, I mean, now that I think about it, like, why wouldn't you? I mean, I know the Power BI can deliver incredible results. It can really change the direction of the organization. So why wouldn't you? So it's great that they're open to that. And again, that's not the intent of Real Power BI right now. The intent is simply have them work on the project and deliver a great result, get some real world experience. That's it. But if this happens, that's certainly a bonus. So Real Power BI right now, we're trying to match up the students with that. Actually, maybe I can show you really quick. Oops, that's not it. This one. Nope, that's not the one. Yep, there we go. So yeah, you can see we have the projects here, and people are kind of expressing their interest that, hey, I would like to work in this one. I would like to work in this one. Oh boy, so I see more names here than I did last time. So that's great. So, and again, we're gonna refine that, and hopefully by early next week, maybe as soon as Monday, we'll have all the projects assigned, and then we'll proceed from there. Oh gosh, I'm so excited about that. So yeah, Real Power BI, that's pretty cool. What else? Yeah, of course, our Pro Plus program. I call it Pro Plus, but the real name is the 6 Figures Power BI Professional. And 2 of those folks are on the call, Chris and Steve. And I feel happy that, so there's a lot going on there, which is awesome, but I was feeling slightly guilty. Well, not guilty, but I knew that I wanted to create some content as well. So that one I've been working on, and I'll just give you guys a sneak peek. And frankly, I'm kind of excited about how it's shaping up, especially because that was the whole idea of doing this as a beta. That's how I created the online course anyway, which is I created it based on the students' feedback. So nope, this is not it. Let me go one more page. And yeah, 6 Figures Power BI Professional. So really, I was listening to the chat that goes on in our Slack channel, and there was a lot of discussion recently on, like, how do you get leads, how do you convert leads to customers, and so forth, and how do you set the pricing, fixed bid versus hourly. So again, taking a cue from what was being discussed, I'm like, cool, let's do that. So yeah, it's shaping up. I mean, it feels good. I'm excited. And of course, we have our table of contents, which has the rest of our plan there. Cool. Maybe one last thing that I had. Talk Power BI is new and improved. So Thomas Powers, and thank you, Sir Thomas Powers, I'll grant you the title, send it an email. And folks, I love getting feedback, because often what happens is that, if you're having that problem, others are too. So Thomas wrote in and saying, hey, Avi, the video and audio are choppy and they're dropping off. So man, I spent like 6 hours on a weekend researching all YouTube streaming, and to the best of my knowledge, this is much improved. I did do a lot of testing. So if you still notice any choppiness, put that in the comment board and let us know. So that's awesome. And next week we're planning. So this was supposed to be for this week, but it got pushed out. Future of Power BI, and we're gonna have that as a panel discussion, because I think you don't just need kind of my take on it. We need like a collective take on it. So that's what is it now? March 8th, 7th, 15th. That's next week. All right, cool. Let's see. So let's go through kind of a standard talk Power BI mode. So folks, let's go on the phone. Chris, Greg, Steve, if you have any questions, you get first dibs before I check in with our YouTube friends. All right. Cool. Just if you have a question, just speak up. Let's see what's going on on the YouTube. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Okay, I'm trying to look at the chat window. Shouldn't be taking this long to load, but it is. That's okay. What happened to the chat window? Maybe I can check here. All right, maybe Loretta Sue is here. Loretta Sue, always good to see you here. John says, hi, Avi and team. How can I automate reports? Okay, so questions already. Gear, good to see you, my friend. Gear is also part of the Learn Power BI family. Hello from Denmark. Got it. So Dave Rout had a similar question as John. And Joa Soares, okay, questions. Okay, cool. So let's see. And Pavan says hello from Dubai. So let's grab some of these questions, and we'll go from there. And folks will round robin between the folks on the phone and here. Okay, this one should be easy. Let's go here. John, I'm so glad you have an easy first name. Okay, so John is saying, how can I automate my reports and enable refreshes? And Dave had the same question. Talk about coincidence. How can I automate my report and refresh? Joe? Sorry guys, I might not get your name right. When you do call in, oh, by the way, we do open the call-in line later on during the call. So if you do call in, you can correct my pronunciation of your name. All right, so let's see, how can I automate John and Dave's question? Let's take that, and I'm gonna keep an eye on the chat window. Juliet has some questions, burning question. Okay, Juliet, we'll surely get to you. So how can I automate my, and just maybe a quick one. Well, actually, I don't know, we'll see. So how can I automate my reports and enable refreshes? So first of all, I'm just going to take a step back. And John, I mean, I'm trying to speak to kind of the audience as well. So first of all, I do certainly believe in automated refreshes. Now, it used to be that it might take, what it did take me, sometimes a week to refresh a monthly report. A week to refresh a monthly report. That's better than taking a month to refresh a weekly report, but not by much. So yeah, and when it's taking a week to refresh, that really means there's a lot of manual stuff going on, a lot of copy paste. I get this data from here, I do this, then I do that, then I do this, then I do that. And yeah, maybe it didn't start off that way. Maybe you had a very clean report and you did hit refresh inside Excel and everything worked. But then you added this and then added that. And, yeah, the old Excel, and again, the new Excel has the power of Power BI built in, but the old Excel always had this tendency where it kind of seemed to die and crumble under its own weight. It was death by 1,000 cuts. Now, with Power BI, you can make that one-click refresh. So all the stuff that you were doing manually, like get this data from here, clean it out, look for this, look for that, all of that you can automate from on the data cleanup side and on the calculation side, right? So there are two sides of Power BI. One is the query editor, which kind of cleans up data. So that's the kitchen of Power BI. And then, of course, sometimes you were doing a lot of manual stuff in calculations. That's where measures shine, and measures and relationship, they kind of work together. So you basically get to the point where there is one-click refresh. And so imagine going from 1 week to one click. 1 week to one click. It's incredible. It's incredible. But my friends, you wait till you experience the next step, which is automated refresh. And it's one of those things where once you experience it, like you don't go back, so because you feel like eventually you're going to realize that even if it's one click, if you're there sitting there doing that click, you're still tied to it. And I want you not to be tied to those reports, because here's the real truth. There was my life where I was just cranking out reports in Excel and other tools, and And frankly, I was not adding real value. I was just kind of working in the data dungeon, just cranking out this stuff, and that's not real value, right? I mean, so you can be in Power BI and still be doing that. I've seen that happen, because for one, you're going to realize that the appetite for business for this kind of stuff is endless. Right now, if you're doing Excel, you're constrained by capacity, but once you get unblocked, people say, oh, what about this? What about that? Where that doesn't end. And that's okay. That's cool. We want to encourage that, right? But the real freedom comes from when you're untethered from your reports. And yeah, the one click refresh, that click holds you back. So automated refresh should be everybody's goal. So let me throw out a few answers and see, John and Dave, how they land with you. So one way to refresh is you go to PowerBI.com and you set up an automated refresh over there, scheduled refresh. Now, most companies, frankly, all companies that I've worked for, they have what's called, so you may have some cloud data. Most projects that I worked with, some of them did, right? Now it's becoming more of a trend. And you may have some what's called on-premise data. Now this can be files on shared folders. This can be, kind of on-prem SQL Server and other things like that. Other systems which are kind of on-prem and not on cloud, right? So ERP systems and so forth, customer service, CRM systems, and so forth. Long list of things. So for on-premise data, you would require a data gateway. And it's not that hard to set up. I cover that inside my course. And it's one of those things which is easy, but it can be hard. So I'll admit that sometimes you may run into issues with this. And if you go look at the Power BI forums and people struggling with refresh, just refresh error or something like that, just search for that, you would find a lot of results, right? And again, not that those aren't solvable, they are, and you can definitely set it up, but I just want to say that there is one other option. So PowerBI.com is when you do refresh in the cloud, right? So this, and that's why it needs the gateway, because it is sitting up there in the cloud. Basically, you build the model online. In here, you have the Power BI desktop with the PBIX file, and then you hit publish. It's up in the cloud, and this is where you set up the automated refresh. Boy, I'm good at drawing today. My arrows are usually much worse. Right, so that's you refreshing in the cloud, but you can do it one other way. You can do it one other way, my friend, which is you can refresh it on-prem, right? On like a local machine. Could be your desktop. It's better if it's a dedicated machine, and then refresh it here, and again, all automatic. I'm not saying manually. It refreshes automatically here and automatically gets published over there. Now, there are probably a few tools out there which do that. The one I've used is called Power Update. It's made by the company that is now called Power on BI. They had a different name. I don't remember what they were called. And well, yeah, the name is inspired by my tagline. In fact, I know the owner, and I remember he wrote a note, Avi, that I love your tagline, and so frankly, I feel honored. Of course, that's great. So Power on BI, but again, I have no affiliations with them, but I've just used the tool, and yeah, it worked really well. So that is another option for you there. So you can refresh on-prem. And I'm sure there are other tools there on premise, on like a local machine. And usually it's best to have like a dedicated machine for this, using tool like Power Update. Now, of course, there are some other edgy things which I wouldn't really delve into, but there is a live connection to SSAS and Azure Analysis, and then there is a direct query. Yeah, and for folks, these modes, you might see these modes when you start using Power BI. For a beginner, I think the default should be an import mode. That should work 99% of the time, and certainly for a beginner, you should be importing your data, because that gives you the full capability and capacity of Power BI. Frankly, this is probably the #1 question that I get. I was like, hey, I'm trying to do this and it's not working, and then somewhere in there, if they don't mention it, I find out soon that they're using a live connection or direct query. And those are valid scenarios, but you need to understand when and where to use them before you start using them. So that one, of course, changes the game of the refresh. Like, there's no refresh in Power BI. The refresh is back in the data source. It really changes the game there. So that's another one. Let's see if I saw. Oh, John Suarez, great, nice, love that. Okay, I can say John, yeah. All right, so I think I didn't see any more comments on John, this John and Dave. So John and Dave, let me know if that hit the mark. If not, if you have any follow-up questions. Let's see. Who do we grab next? So hold on, guys. So sometimes, yes, there's a, yeah, I can't do first in, first out. Sometimes I would just go with the last question that I see. So Juliet, I promise I will get to you. You're the one who had the burning question, right? So, but let me see if I can take some quick ones here. Ooh, John Suarez. I hope I'm saying the last name right. Suarez. I might need more information on that. Let's see if we can tackle this one. Oh, gosh, jobs. We should do a whole feature just on this, my friends. Do I need to master SQL Server also to have a job in BI? Guess what I have mastered? Anybody can guess? Am I a SQL expert? No, I'm not. I can write SQL code, but I'm not. So I'll give you something counter. You should not, must not master Power BI. So folks, I was giving you a sneak peek into our course for this is the highest level that I'm working at with students, right? So we have the Learn Power BI course, we have the Pro level membership, and Pro Plus. And Pro Plus, the 6 figures Power BI professional, I told them that, hey, this is not going to have any Power BI content. And well, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna try to hold true to that. We'll see. I mean, there's a little bit of overlap, but one thing that I talked to them about was defining your niche, right? And so I'll do a quick recap of that here. So, and again, you must not master Power BI. What the heck do I mean by that? I don't want you to, so our thoughts become a reality, my friend, right? So the way you think will create your reality around you. So if you think this way, that I must master Power BI and SQL Server and this and that and AI and R and all of that stuff, then that's what you're chasing. And gosh, that's not a good thing for anybody. So I'll give you some quick tips. Power BI is big enough that you can't target it all, right? You have to find your niche within that. Another thing that you must do is must not lead with technology. Well, actually, yeah, I wouldn't say that. That they may be right for some people, but I think for most people, you should not lead with technology, because technology is like the shifting sands of Sahara. Wow, we're coming after all kinds of stuff, right? So it's always shifting, isn't it? Technology is always changing, right? So if you want to, kind of keep doing that all of your life, where you're climbing from one sand dune to the next, it sounds tiring, doesn't it? And the sun is blazing, and it's always changing, and there's always competition, and you're always nervous about what's going to happen in maybe in a year or even 6 months from now. I mean, technology just changes so rapidly these days. So, and again, some people might enjoy that. And like, Avi, I don't see it as shifting sands of Sahara. I find it as an adventure. So great. If you're like that, then great. So, but most people, you should not associate or lead with technology. You should not brand yourself, I'm a Power BI expert. In fact, the best approach, the approach that I would recommend, is you combine something with business and technology. So if you have, I don't know, if you're a sales, sales, marketing, finance, or maybe you work with a specific ERP system, SAP system, whatever, I don't know, right? So something businessy, and you combine that with Power BI. So you say I do this, but with the magic of Power BI. And if you think about that, think about all the salespeople in the world, right? I don't know how many there are. Billion? You know, there might be a billion. Who knows? No, not a billion. Just kidding. So line up all the salespeople. Very small percentage of them have even heard about Power BI. A very small percentage. You know, that might change, but yeah, that's the truth right now. So a small percentage knows about Power BI, has heard about Power BI, and a very small percentage of that actually knows how the heck to use it. Most people have no idea how to use Power BI. They think it's a visualization tool. They dump their data in and they just, go in there and start crafting kind of fancy visuals. And I remember hearing from one new person, and she said, "Oh, Avi, I'm so excited, and what I'm doing is I'm going to the marketplace and I'm importing every visual and going through that one by one." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I would shoot myself before doing that." So so most people have no clue. They don't even conceive that it's a modeling tool first. Visualization is frankly ancillary. And you can plug in any visualization tool to the model, and so the data cleanup, the query editor, the DAX, the relationship, most people have no idea, right? So imagine the sales population, very few know about Power BI, a very, very small percentage of that actually know how to use it. If you can be that elite person, how do you think you're going to compete against the other salespeople? You'll blow them out of the water, right? So you see what I'm doing here? You're stacking the deck in your favor. And imagine this becomes so much more powerful than, oh, I'm really good at Power BI, because then you're competing with other people who are good at Power BI, and that number is growing fast and will continue to grow fast as it happens with any technology. But if you just you say, nope, I do this, then you're a superpower. So that's the way to go. And the more niche down you can get, the better it is. So I was speaking to one of the new students in the class, and we had an amazing conversation. And we were talking about how can we focus down in niche? And she said, okay, maybe focus on small businesses. But what kind of small businesses? And she had this phrase, fast-moving consumer goods. And I love that, FMCG. I'm like, cool, awesome, right? So just those company, FMCG. Oh, but FMCG can be online as well as offline, something like that, online retail. But so your job is not to find the niche, but niche of a niche of a niche of a niche, right? So, hey, I'm going to help people, small businesses who are in the fast-moving consumer goods section, who are focused on online retail, who are growing, but their revenue is growing, but not their profits, right? So you see how narrow down we get? And again, it's sometimes if you do this, you will start feeling uncomfortable. That's great. That's the goal of this exercise, because that's when you can nail something and own it. And that's the goal, my friend. All right, cool. So let me see if I answered any of your questions. So do you need to master SQL Server? No, you don't. I mean, SQL, I can write SQL queries, but I don't remember the last time I wrote it. You can do everything in the query editor. Now, there are some cases where I do go back to SQL, but I mean, you can probably just hack a little bit in SQL if you needed to. So, or you can ask somebody or get some help, hire somebody. It's so many ways, right? So it's going to be 1% of the time when, there's going to be rare cases when you do need to fall back on SQL, maybe for performance issues or something like that, really, really large data set. But depending on your audience, frankly, as I said, I don't remember the last time I used SQL, because I can use query editor. Is really powerful. So SQL specifically, you don't need to focus on. I don't believe so. And Power BI, I would say get narrower. Define your focus within Power BI. That, hey, I focus on this. So you realize there are people out there who focus on kind of the Power BI visualization. If you look at their content, they're just saying, hey, look, I built this dashboard. And I rarely talk about that. My focus is under the hood. And that's all I talk about. So that's my focus. If you ask me about R, I have no idea. If you ask me about some other stuff, I mean, I wouldn't know, and that's okay. That's good, in fact. All right, cool. So let's see what do. All right, so I say it's time to go back to Juliet. So Juliet, let me kind of read your question. Burning question. Oh, okay. Burning question is, who does the front end work on? Who does the front end? Oh, I thought you had a. Usually when people say burning question, they have like a DAX question, like, "Hey, this DAX formula isn't working, Avi." So I'm kind of surprised. So let's take a. Hey, Steve, did you see like a DAX or some technical question float by somewhere? Maybe tackle one of those.
Yeah, let me
Well, we have this guy,
let me take a quick look here. Yeah.
Power BI and Advanced Excel, who just
There. Well,
posted something.
go ahead. I did see a question about it. It appeared like ranking.
Okay.
I'm trying to find the question here, but it jumped out to me as like some sort of ranking by month customers type thing.
Okay, no worries. If you can find it, that's
Let me
great.
find it.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
we'll have them.
I'll find it.
Repost. Yeah.
I'll find it.
So folks, yeah, as so again, I mean,
Yeah,
we
I
can't
got
do it
it.
kind of first in, first out, but
This is
so actually, let me check in with Chris, Greg, and you, Steve. If anything we discussed maybe jogged something or something else came up, go ahead and ask that. Just unmute yourself and ask away. Meanwhile, I'll look at this one.
well. I did find that question, which was Shane,
Okay.
and he says they collect monthly tenant sales in 4 different ways. And how do I show in Power BI by tenant the highest level sales that we have collected in any given month?
Okay.
So
Let's see. So let's line these up. So we have. Let me get. Oh boy, this is. I didn't realize that. That's Juliet is also asking about something. She used the word jobs in there. All right, folks. We might have you. Okay, got it. So folks, we might have you resubmit questions as well. But let's take this one, and I saw something else come in, maybe with a little more detail. Okay, is there a way to do a distinct count of customers, okay, off the sales table, expressed as a percentage of the entire customer database, such that as you step through time, yearly, the denominator changes by year, where the denominator is the customer table. So if customer table is 2000, okay, so in 2015 you had 5,000 customers. 2014 you had 5,000. 2015 you had 10,000. 2016 the customer base grew. Is there a way to do a distinct count of customers off the sales table of it's an entire customer database? I like that one. So we can get customers in the sales table. Yeah, I think the key is this one, where the denominator is changing. It's the numerator is obviously going to change in distinct customers. Got it. Okay, let's see how we can do this. I like this one. So I'm going to do a simple version. A simple version for that, we would just do, let's see if we have customer count, order count. We do have customer count. Awesome. Let's put that up there, and let's do that by year. Calendar. Woohoo! Hey, do you mind putting in your name somewhere there? I sorry, I've probably seen you on the channel before, but I can't recall which your name. I don't want to call you Power BI and Advanced Excel, although I love that tagline. That's awesome. cool. It's Eamon. All right. Awesome, Eamon. Good to have you on, my friend. You're not my Eamon, are you? You're not the Eamon Insider Learn Power BI program. Maybe you are. You know, so at some point I knew all the students in the class, and now it's 500 plus. I do know most of them. Okay, so let's come back here. So cool. So usually when I'm writing a measure and so forth, there's a last section to the question. Did I miss something? Oh, there is. Aha, thanks for bringing that to my attention. Let's go. Continue, yeah. Okay. All right, yeah, I realize. Okay, cool. So let's do this. And I have no idea what I'm going to find here. How to pull this information as a denominator, given that it is a lookup table, and link this to dates, which is also a lookup table. Treat as. I haven't used that function yet in cascading lookup tables. So he's tried a few things. I'm hopeful about this one. I'm really optimistic. We'll see. You know. So all right, cool. So mostly when I'm kind of debugging measures, mostly I just go to kind of list or a matrix. I keep it really simple. So folks, the lesson here is frankly, I mean, you may not care about this specific problem, but if you've seen me enough here, I think it's true because I've been told so, is that people say that Avi, we also benefit by seeing your approach to solving problems, even when you fail. And that happens fair enough, often enough. and that's okay. That's cool. All right, so cool. So we have the purchasing customer count. So this is coming from the sales table. Sales, I can rename it if you want, but again, this is, you know what, I will rename it. So I'll go to purchasing customer count, and you can see that this is when it pops up. And hey, folks, by the way, in the earlier announcement, I did say that the Talk Power BI experience should be new and improved. We should have less audio and video drops and choppiness. If you do see something, just put a note. Frankly, I probably wouldn't be able to do anything kind of right now, but I'll go back. If that continues, I want to make sure that this is a great experience. So I want to make sure that I'll go back and debug. So if you notice that, then pop in. If nothing, then yeah, that's all good. Then whatever I changed worked. So here we have distinct count of sales customer keys. So we're basically saying how many customers purchased. So let me see if I want to rename it. Purchasing customer count. I'll just say from sales. Let's just do that just to kind of be really clear. And again, I mean, I'm just working with it right now. I wouldn't call this. I wouldn't name it like this in the final model. Purchasing customer count from sales. Let's make it bigger. Okay, so we have this, but here's the problem. So this is our numerator, and that part is easy, but the denominator is coming from the customer table. So let's look up over there. So here we have in sales, we go to every year and we say, hey, in this year, how many customers bought? In this year, how many customers bought? And again, I'm saying year, but you can slice and dice it by any which way you want. That's a magical Power BI. You can say month, quarter, and you can say, oh, but for only specific product category, a specific territory, anything like that, right? But then we have for the denominator, the entire customer table, So let's go over there, and we're gonna go over here, and we'll say customer count. You got it. And customer count, and that is giving us, so let's see the formula, and that is giving us count rows of customers. So that's the entire customer table, and yes, that, and you can see that it's just the same number every time. Well, and that is right. That is the entire customer table, but that's not quite what Eamon is looking for, right? So 18,484 is the customer count as of now. But that's not what we want. We want what was the entire customer database at let's say the end of 2014 or the end of 2015, right? So something like that. Cool. So how do we do that? First of all, I'm gonna, you notice here that it shows, gonna start showing these ears as well. And again, Power BI is always right, almost always right. I've caught some bugs here and there, but yeah, so it's always right, and it's only the humans who are wrong. I'm just kidding with you guys. But the human expectations are sometimes different. Like for me, as a human, I wouldn't want to see these rows because for me those are not applicable. And you can solve that in DAX, or you can sometimes solve that as a simple filter. For now, that's not my main problem, so I'm just gonna kind of remove it from consideration. So I'll just bring it in here as a slicer, ear as a slicer, and we'll go from there. So okay, cool. So I wonder if there's a way to kind of say that, hey, please use the list as a default. Okay, so I'm just going to say 14, 15, 16. Did that work? Okay, it's thinking. All right, there we go. Okay, good enough. So we want this number to change. So guys, I'll admit, I'm in thinking mode right now. So what we have is customer. We have customer. And if you look at the customer table, we have a clue, at least in this table, AdventureWorks. And this clue may or may not be there in all cases. So the clue here is date of first purchase. Let's try that. So date of first purchase. So yeah, based on this, I can do something with this, right? And again, if you don't have this column, you can add it. And again, the right place to add it would not be in DAX. Usually this kind of stuff, cleanup, adding column, things like that, the best place is the kitchen of Power BI, which is the query editor. So you should be doing it there. Now, it's also theoretically possible to not add it here and compute it dynamically from the sales table. It is possible, but hey, baby steps, so I'll not go there. So let's go with this, where we have the table. So what if I can say, give me a customer count. So I'm going to copy this table, and yeah, so gosh, I think what I need is like life to date customers. Ooh, this is actually might turn out to be different than what I imagined. So yeah, so folks, if you have heard me talk about it, no, not this guy. What is Power BI modeling? What is Power BI modeling? And before I knew what it was, I used to teach this. So if you go to my channel, all the good stuff is at the top. Learn Power BI. So there is the Power BI tutorial, there is the ultimate calendar, and this is data modeling. And this is good stuff. This is really good stuff. It talks to you about the data table and lookup table and how to think about it, what's the difference between building a report in Power BI versus a Power BI model, and why you should. So it is good stuff, but frankly, I didn't quite understand elementally what Power BI modeling is. And to teach is to learn twice. So it dawned on me working with my students. In fact, the biggest revelation I think came when we were working on a real Power BI project. So Power BI modeling, I now understand it differently. Sure, that is what you do. That is what you do. So this covers that. But what is it really about? That kind of thing, right? What's under that? So Power BI modeling is basically made up of these decision points and assumptions. All right, so let's, I'm going to go with an assumption. And you're always making assumptions. You may or may not realize that. A smarter, better, more, better Power BI modeler is aware of these things going on. They're aware when they're at a decision point, and they're aware when they're making an assumption. And others are just, sometimes people are like throwing darts in the dark. They're like, oh, can we try this? Can we try that? And they're focused on the end result. Anyway, so here we can go with an assumption. Can we go with an assumption? Let's go with an assumption, and we can backtrack. You can always kind of come back and change an assumption. So denominator, we only want to count customers who have ever made a purchase. let's go with that. And again, that might not be right. I'll check in with Eamon to see if I got that right. But let's just go with that. So if you only want to count, if you never made a purchase, you're not really a customer. You're in the system lollygagging around, you know. I don't know what you're doing. You signed up, never bought. Who cares? You're not a customer. I don't call you a customer, right? So, oops. So this is an assumption. So cool. So we're gonna call that out. Like I only want to care about. So now that changes the problem. Now it changes the problem to this is a life-to-date customer. Life-to-date customer. Okay, cool. Got it. So got it. And let's come back here to this guy, and we'll say purchasing customer count. We have that, and then I'm not sure if I can do it in one shot. I mean, let's see. New measure. Life to date. Okay. Customer count life to date. Life to date means the beginning of the time to this current day, right? So we're counting way from the beginning to the current date. So L is also sometimes shortened as LTD, kind of like similar to year to date, month to date, quarter to date. So customer count. So let's so we're gonna take, so if we're looking at 2014, we're gonna go back in time until the last date. So let's do like the max date. So I just want to test what is the max date coming in, and I'll say max calendar date. Let's try that. So max calendar date and return max date. I'm just testing. I'm just having fun right now. So I got that part working. Customer and oops, where did that get placed? Did that work? Maybe not. Okay, click, check. Return max date. And, oh, that I put that in the budget table. Let's move that to customer. Okay, let's see. Customer count life to date. And again, I expect it to return a date to me right now. So, but cool, it's working. So at each cell, and again, when you're looking at measures, you want to think about a single cell, right? So, and by the way, if you need more help with measures and you're not inside my course, I mean the course you got everything step by step, but do look at this list, DAX filter context. That's good stuff. Okay, let's go here. So we got this. We got the max date. So what we want to do now is tell Power BI that see, you know, get this date and go all the way back in time, you know. And yeah, same thing over there. So let's go back to our customer count. And let's try again. So we'll say maybe we'll say customer count LTD. Oh, another variable, customer count life to date, and this one will say calculate the purchasing customer count. That's the same thing, but I would like you to go to the calendar table, the complete calendar table. Don't worry about what's being filtered. I don't care about that. And then date, calendar date has to be less than equal to max date, right? So life to date, beginning of time to this max date, and return that. Yeah, I mean, looks promising. Let's see what we get. Oh, oops. Oops. I mean, my heart skipped a beat. I'm like, what happened? Why is this still a date? Because I forgot to change this one. So now we're going to return the customer count LTD. And fingers crossed, my friend. Ooh. Oh, it's at least different than this number. So that's promising. I'm going to put a comma there. And let's bring out the calculator. Okay, cool. Go away, my friend. And so let's see if you got it right. Actually, dang it. Yeah, you can't add it up. You cannot add it up. So I was going to do this. So I was going to say 2206. Well, you can and you cannot. Gosh, really good. So 3322, right? And that gives you 5428, and it matches up. But I sure hope that, but you can see the next one doesn't add up. So 3222, so 322 plus 2206 plus 17. Man, I apologize. The formula is accurate, but the data in AdventureWorks is a little weird because they don't have repeating customers in every year. So the customers in 2014 never came back. The same customers never came back here. I feel that's it. That's your denominator. So, Eamon, let's see if you like that. This is there's the last one. Got it. Gene solved his own question. Great. So I think this is it. And you can say in here, now, of course, purchasing customer can. Now you can do a new measure as a percentage. So we'll say percentage customer purchased out of customer base. I don't know. Percentage active customers, something like that. Purchasing customer count from sales divided by life to date. And we'll put it there. We'll make it a percentage. Ooh, nice. Yeah, this looks I think this looks good, but yeah, AdventureWorks is AdventureWorks. Okay, cool. Okay, that I think that worked out. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file, my friends, in our Talk Power BI folder. If you want to get any of the files that we have ever generated in Talk Power BI and access to these notes, so you can go back and search to see if this has been discussed earlier or something like that, or you just want to go back and recap and catch up on something, then go to talkpowerbi.com. That will give you access to all of that. Oh, I totally forgot. There is one key announcement. I can't believe I forgot about that. So those who have been joining me on Talk Power BI, I have a new goal in life. And so sorry if you've heard this before, but basically, this was a powerful moment for me. This was when I was working with my mindset coach. I think they're the modern day therapists, right? And I realized, so she had me close my eyes, and I was doing a visualization exercise, and I realized that this was my world right now. I was connecting a lot of people, and this has always been my goal, right? Where I'm connected to a lot of people, and I'm also enabling connections amongst them, right? So that was there, and that was good, but what I realized was that the size of my dot was too big, and guys, it sounds weird now, but actually it doesn't sound weird, because frankly that was one moment where I didn't feel weird, and I felt it was real. I have to acknowledge it. So it was the first time ever in my life, where I felt like I wasn't doing what I was doing. I was merely channeling a higher power. Now, the funny thing is, most of my life, I think I still don't. I don't really believe in the concept of God and so forth. I do believe in spirituality. I believe in kind of the power of yourself and so forth. But I couldn't not acknowledge that I felt like I was channeling a different power. Let's call it a different power, right? So I was channeling something else. I was just here to serve, and what I felt was that by being this big presence, I was myself absorbing a lot of that energy instead of my goal to pass it on. So my new goal is to reduce the size of this dot, right? So I want to serve, but I don't need to be this huge dot. I can be the small dot, and that will allow me to channel more energy outward to my followers, to my students. And I've been working on it tirelessly since then. So I'll share some of the ideas here. I don't know what to call it. Big dot to small dot. That's my goal here. Small dot. And there have been so many things there. For one, of course, I retired from consulting, and I'm passing on those leads to my students and enabling them. Of course, in the Pro Plus course, I'm teaching them not just like what to do with leads, but really how to become Power BI professionals, Power BI consultants. So I'm empowering them, right? I'm not fishing for people anymore. I'm just focused on teaching others to fish, and not just teaching them how to do Power BI, but how do you kind of land lead and so forth. So that's one. Then we have this concept of Learn Power BI Ambassador, where I've gotten help from somebody who's on this call, Steve Ross. So he's our first guinea pig for this, and we're still kind of rolling this out. And then we're also gonna do Learn Power BI mentors and buddy system, and they both can be really powerful. So we have been running this course for 2 years, and again, there's some amazing people in there, and they have these amazing people. They're veterans, they're professionals. I mean, I sometimes call them students, but yeah, these are pros, right? And then there are total newbies coming in who are doubting themselves and like, oh my gosh, I'm struggling, right? I have all these doubts and fears, and I want to match them up with these mentors who are going to say, you got this. Yeah, that's pretty much. Now, I'd support them another way too. And sometimes you don't need a mentor. You need to buddy up with another person who just started, and it can be such a powerful exercise. Think of it like if you've ever gone to the gym and if you've ever worked out with a partner. It's only happened once in my life, and man, that was the best period. That got me the best shape ever. That was in college, and I started working out with a training buddy. So it's just like that. It can be really powerful. So again, notice I'm not involved in many of these, or in some cases I'm passing off to somebody else. And the third thing, and this is so big, I'm so excited about it, we're going to have other people. And we've had some guests over here, but we're not talking about having a guest over, having them present something. We're talking about a specific masterclass, and we have 2 people lined up, 2 amazing people. One is going to talk about sales and growing your company, and this is a sales veteran and a Power BI expert. Doesn't get better than that, and they're going to just tell you what is sales really about. By the way, it's not what you think it is. It is definitely not what you think it is. So this person taught me what I know about sales. I have based my sales philosophy, if you will, on this. And again, he has a very different take on this. So we're going to have somebody talk about that. And then we're going to have an amazing person talk about finance dashboards. These guys are going to come in. So they're going to come into the Learn. So we're going to test this out in a Learn Power BI community, in our student community. But this is the exciting part. So they're going to come in and teach a class, right? So somebody else besides me could use the size of my dot. But we're also going to invite a selected few members, like, I don't know, maybe like 20 people from the Talk Power BI Insiders Club. And I think I had promised on this. Let's see. So if you go to talkpowerbi.com, that's the way to join it. But I think I may have promised, well, let's see what it says. Oh yeah. Oh gosh. So I didn't even realize it. I think I had this idea in my head a long time ago, but it's finally happening, and I'm excited about that. So this was an idea that this will be kind of so even if you're not a student due to some reason, and that's okay, that's cool, right? I mean, if the class makes sense, of course, I would love to see you inside. There's lots of support, and I love hanging out with that group. I've loved seeing their progress and their achievements. But if you're not, that's okay. I still wanted to make like a club of people, and of course, I see a lot of you every time on Talk Power BI, right? So why shouldn't we get to hang out too? So we'll do this masterclass inside Learn Power BI. We'll have these amazing people teaching, and I'm excited about that. But we'll invite some of the folks from Talk Power BI as well. And again, the way to join is just go to talkpowerbi.com. All right, cool. So let's come back here. Did I totally lose track? I sometimes do that. Actually, no, we're good. We're good. I thought I left Eamon hanging, so I think we got it good. But let's up the stake. Let's spend like a few just the last thing here. What if we up the stake? So again, when I was talking about modeling is assumptions. So let's go back here to Eamon's problem we're solving, and we solved it. Eamon looked happy, but so if you're modeling and you're aware that it's a decision point and assumptions, then you're going to be conscious of this. Like I made an assumption, but assumptions can sometimes be faulty. Like if you made an incorrect assumption, and that's okay, but you're operating on what you know at that point, and you're always operating with incomplete data. That's frankly the nature of life, right? So when you're consulting or even if you're a full-time employee, it's foolish to think that you know everything. You don't. You're always basing on what you know. So you can make an incorrect assumption. Well, correct based on the data you have, but once you get new data, it's like, oh, cool, that wasn't right. That isn't right. Now I get it, right? So let's put it that way. Or sometimes an assumption can be true in that point of time, but can change later on. And later on, the nature of the business change and so forth. So either way, what if this assumption did not hold? Now let's look at this. So this one is saying that lifetime, we have 17,918 customers who purchased. But if I look at my customer table, I have more customers, 18,484. These are customers who got into our database but never purchased, right? So my challenge to you would be, how would you solve that? Oh my gosh, that's nuts. Let's call it out. So the challenge, the gauntlet has been thrown, my friends, is how would you rewrite the measure or redo it? Maybe it's not a measure anymore. Maybe you need some changes in the model. Redo it if our assumption did not hold. Hold on, guys. All right, so if the assumption did not hold, what that means is in the denominator, we want all registered customers at that point in customer table, whether or not they purchase. So imagine the first year. In the first year, you have 100 people who came to your site and signed up. And frankly, we get that on our site too. So on our course, learnpowerbi.com, we only allow the course enrollment is on an invite basis, right? So you cannot enroll in a course unless you have an invite. And usually the way to get that is when we open general enrollment, right? So but there are people who kind of stumble on the site and they sign up, so they give us their contact, but they're not able to purchase anything. But of course, in other scenarios, imagine e-commerce, you would have people signing up, adding stuff in their cart, but they would never purchase. So and maybe you do want to see those customers. Like, yep, so we had 100 customers who registered in our system in 2018, right? 10 of them bought. Great. So 10 divided by 100. But then you go to the next year and say, well, in this year, we had 20 purchasing customers. We can see that. That's easy to do, distinct count of sales customer, right? But then we had 100 registered last year and then 250 more registered this year. So we have 350, right? So, but again, you're looking at the customer table. You're not looking at just the purchases, which was our big assumption here. Big assumption here. So if this assumption doesn't hold, how do you calculate it then? I think this is a really interesting problem, like really good one. All right, cool. So let's see. Let's go back. Hey, Anthony is, oh gosh, I wish I timed it better. So Anthony is saying Happy International Women's Day. So folks, we talked about, we're going to do the future of Power BI on March 15th. There's another topic coming, which is near and dear to my heart. I have to say I'm a little bit afraid of, how do I do this? Upcoming. A little bit afraid because part of me was like, gosh, I'm a guy. How can I talk about this? But I'm not. I'm going to bring in a special guest, and we have some amazing women. In fact, to tell you the truth, why the seed was planted in my head was, if you go to my channel right here, now there is this section called success stories, I think. Where is it? Oh gosh, where? Huh, it should really have been featured here. Oh, there it is. Probably a success stories. We'll focus. We'll highlight it a bit more because it deserves it, and it's got some amazing stories. Some members are on this call right now. I wouldn't name them, but maybe that was the last one. Oh, great. But there are two that have personally inspired me in a big way, and they're both women. One is Justina Bucks, How to Become a Power BI Consultant.
Do you like?
And the other is Bam Baker, From Just an Accountant to Leading the Power BI Revolution. So obviously I respect and admire them, and they have been a source of inspiration for me. But I realized that, the percentage of women in tech is not what it should be. The percentage of women in Power BI, best I can see from the companies that I engage with and folks who enroll in my course, is not what it should be. I mean, I would want it to be 50-50, right? But it's not. And my hope and vision is, so if you look at sports, most of the sports are dominated by men, right? I mean, if you look at the big sports in U.S., if you look at basketball, right? And how much attention does the WNBA get versus the NBA? And, of course, there's football and then there's baseball, right? So there's a big disparity. But there's one sport which is kind of an exception, which is tennis. Man, I mean, female superstars are as big as male superstars. The tennis for women is as big as tennis for men. I want to make Power BI the tennis of tech industry. How can you do that? And why would we care about that? So I'll give you another example. So I watched a TED Talk about this person who was a blind architect. That's crazy, right? That's insane. You got to watch that TED Talk. Blind architect. Stay with me here. And he talks about his approach to designing places. Now, he talks about and how you can build places, city squares, and all of that stuff with people of all abilities in mind, right? And he specifically talks about how you can do some things to have, like, let's say your town square or something, be more friendly to blind people. But this was the big message. He said, when you do it for them, you make it better for everybody else. So it's not about, we're not doing anybody any favor, We're not like, oh, I'm going to be a good Samaritan. No, this is actually, I believe, is good for everybody. Seriously, everybody. We're all going to be better off if this happened. So that's my belief. Well, and again, I'll try to, you don't want me to talk about this topic, so we'll have guests for this one, and we'll talk about that. So cool. Let's see. So folks, hey, you know what? It's kind of tricky to go back to the questions. So Juliet, if you're still on, why don't you post again, or others, folks, if we missed your questions, just repost it and apologize. The chat, it just kind of scrolls by and it's hard to keep track. You know what? Let's see. Okay, so Eamon has another question. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, cool. Let's see what else. Maybe we do take Juliet's question, and then we'll come back to Eamon. I'm going to read it out. So my burning question is, who does the front-end work on a BI system development project? I'm talking about the stakeholder-facing work. I'm talking about the requirements gathering, the training, the UAT testing, the hand-holding, the support user adoption. As a business analyst, I'm doing that kind of work for now in a BA-BI hybrid role. Awesome. But I don't see a lot of job opportunities for such roles. I only see back-end jobs for developer and DBA types. Well, I think there are tremendous opportunities for such roles, but Yeah, so Juliet, this is similar to jobs and BI front end development. Gosh, I have pretty strong opinions about this stuff. Jobs. I think that's an upcoming topic. I don't know where to start. Let's see. Let's go back to the question that we discussed initially. So, you can focus on tech if you want, right? That's not my advice. I think that's a hard. Well, it's only right for you if it is right for you. If you're like that, like, oh, I love learning new stuff. I love the shifting sands of technology. It's like, oh gosh, what am I going to learn in the next 6 months? And oh, this is new technology, right? So if that's for you, that's great. But I almost imagine if you combine business with tech, you're kind of floating above these shifting sands. The technology will change, and not that you wouldn't have to learn, but you're not like coupled to it, right? You're decoupled with it. And your focus is, so I'll recap did I talk about this already? I'll recap the discussion. I think I did talk about this. The lady who I was talking to, where we were trying to focus on her niche, and we said, oh, you're going to focus on this, this, and this, and this. We also talked about how she's going to position herself. And for one, I definitely said that don't position yourself as Power BI. Don't lead with Power BI. Don't mention it, right? Put yourself in the shoes of that person. So they're, again, a business owner. If you remember the niche, do you guys remember the niche? It was, I don't know if I remember the niche. It was small business owners who are in the fast-moving consumer goods, online retail, have had a lot of growth in revenue, or the revenue has been growing, but profit hasn't. Boom. That's what we're focusing on. If you go to them and you say, Power BI, Power BI, Power BI, Power BI is going to solve everything. Power BI is a solution. They've heard it before, right? They've heard it before from a lot of different people. Like, oh, this is going to solve everything. So you cannot lead with technology because probably, most likely, they have been duped by it before. They, some guys starting some technology and saying, So you don't lead with that, and you say, hey, if you're this, and this, right? If you're a fast-moving consumer goods and online retail, I'm here to help you, right? And I have a system, right? I have a 5-step system, and hopefully you have some clients which can show that, hey, this has worked for John and Steve, and here's what they said about it, and this is the result that it had for them, and yeah, this can work for you too, and right. So you talk at their level, and then you say, what is a 5-step system? The first system, so in your system, like the steps are they're not about Power BI, they're not about tech. Power BI is simply an enabler in there, right? So you talk about it that way. So you say, yeah, first thing we're going to do is kind of understand your business. Oh, by the way, how we do it is by using data. So we're going to look at your data system to do it this way. And that is, again, like a subtext. That comes much later. What I'm trying to say here is that I think the role to go for is that business role. And often it's possible that those roles are not going to be advertised with the word Power BI, right? So they just wouldn't have it there because, frankly, they're not looking for a Power BI guy or girl or person. They're looking to solve their business problem. So it's just going to be kind of agnostic, right? So I really think that, well, I mean, you can be like I'm a BI front-end person, but again, that's still very technology focused. And instead you can define that, hey, I work with this, and this kind of organizations, and I help them, I don't know, double their productivity or something. So you got to work on that statement. I help them achieve X. And by the way, the way I do it is by using data and something like that, right? So those jobs, gosh. So jobs is kind of crazy. So if you see the job search market, job reports, it says something like 30,000 jobs added, but that's not quite accurate because this is net. This is net jobs added. usually in a given month, if I remember the number right, there are 10 million people hired. 10 million people. And yeah, so are there businesses out there who are looking for help with somebody who could just make it run better, not have it be crazy? I mean, a lot of these people are God, and you walk into the biggest of companies. I was in Microsoft, right? I mean, everybody would think Microsoft would have it buttoned down. Believe it or not, guys, it's like anywhere else, right? So they're just kind of scrambling, and data is all over the place, and everybody's cranking out and staying late. And you go into the meetings, and it's a PowerPoint presentation, and somebody asks a question, and then nobody has an answer, and you walk out with 30 action items. Sound familiar? It's everywhere. Every company I talk to is the same scenario. Do you think they need help or not? There are infinite number of jobs available, especially, and this is my favorite approach, you create the job for you, right? So for this, I would recommend the book, What Color is Your Parachute? Amazing book. That's one of the best ways to get hired, where they create the job for you. They hear what you can do, and they will say, oh my gee, that's what we need. But before you talk to them, they had no idea they needed that, right? Because they were just struggling. That's the holy grail, my friend. That's the way. Do not frickin', submit a resume or to 10 new places every day and then just wait and whatever, go through the interview loop. That's the old way. If you have been struggling with that approach and not getting results, guess what? It's time to change. The world has changed around you, and there's a new paradigm. And again, if you want to learn more, What Color is Your Parachute? I couldn't recommend that book more. It's freaking amazing. I read that book, and my goal was that the next job I'm going to find, I don't want to find it based on my resume, because that's one of the worst ways to find a job. Worst ways. 4% success rate if you're interested, right? So, so you position yourself as an expert in something, combine business and technology, and go with that, and there are infinite number of jobs available. All right, let's switch back to like a Power BI question. Shane. Oh, nice. Shane. Awesome. Let's see. Thank you. And Eamon had a question as well. Let me see if there's a quick one in there. This thing is not very happy with me.
Avi, I think Eamon's question will be quick.
Okay.
It's an ultimate calendar question. He's getting some errors, but if he's not, I don't know why.
Yeah, and he posted a screenshot.
He posted a screenshot that I looked at, and there's got to be something that he must be modifying the thing somehow, because otherwise it would just work.
Yeah, but gosh, there's one person that I'm going back and forth. Gosh, I can't remember the name. Gene maybe. Who's trying to make the ultimate calendar work for across time zone. It's a really fun problem. And where it surfaced for him was that when I'm working on my local machine, then it knows the local time zone, but if you put it in service, it's UTC. So sorry, separate issue, but ultimate calendar is fun. So let's see what the screenshot looks like really quick. Yeah, Karik offset. So this is happening. Yeah, I'm not sure if you have been able to update to the latest calendar table. So I'm gonna send you a link to the latest version that we have, by the way, which has the updates from like last week, because we had something new added for the year-to-date marker. So no, this was 2 days ago. So yeah, 2 days ago we showcased this stuff, and this required an update to the ultimate calendar table. So let me share the file, and I'll separately go back and actually, we don't quite have a system right now in place to update the files if they're changed after the video is published, but we'll do that. But might as well. So I'll share the latest table with you, and see if that solves it, although yeah, I'm not sure what that is about. I mean, it should work. Ultimate nope, nope, nope. So let's go here and we'll say mini courses. Yep, found it. And calendar table. Oops. Okay, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the Talk Power BI file. So folks, if you just go to talkpowerbi.com, anybody should be able to grab it. So let's go to Talk Power BI. So, and again, I'm not 100% sure that this would solve the problem, but it might. So we'll say, was it 308? Oops. Okay, so again, go to talkpowerbi.com, and once you join a club, you would, where did that go? Oh yeah, you would have the files link, and it'll have the new file. As soon as it's uploaded, it might be syncing. Okay, it is synced now. So let's see. Okay, let's go to the next one, which was Shane. And Shane, thank you for reposting. I know you had, and thank you so much for being patient. So we talked about that. Oh, I should have been doing timestamps here. I totally forgot. No worries. We collect monthly tenant sales in 4 different ways. Estimated, reported, audited, certified. Estimated sales being the lowest, certified, yep, makes sense. How do I show in Power BI by tenant the highest level sales that we have collected in any given month? So let me bring up the chat window, because Shane, I would need some help from you. And Sean is back. Sean has yeah, he's always has a good one for me. So Sean, I'll get to you in a second. Good to see you here, my friend. Let's help Shane here. So we collect monthly tenant sales in 4 different ways: estimated, reported, audited, certified. Estimated sales being the lowest, certified sales being the highest. How do I show in Power BI by tenant the highest level sales that we have collected in any given month? So this is really, I like it. I like this question. But the key is, how is the data structured? So again, I'm going to go with some assumptions, and we'll see. We'll have Shane kind of guide me there. I'm trying to launch Excel. Come on, Excel. Or maybe I can just do it right here. So the data could be like this: ID, tenant sales. Yeah, give me a clue, Shane, onto what your data table looks like. So, gosh, because yeah, this data could exist in so many different ways. So it could be sales ID and amount, let's say, and other information, tenant, amount, and then stage. And the stage reflects that. Tenant month sales report type. You may have 4 listed sales for the same month for the same customer. Got it. Oh, awesome. Okay, so let's say we have, so great. So sales ID, maybe tenant, maybe we have date, which is the month, and sales, maybe that's a sales amount, and stage. Got it. And the same tenant month sales report type. So let's say tenant is Contoso, and so it can happen multiple types. And let's say this is month, so let's say January 2019, and I don't know, maybe this is February 2019, and February 2019. And maybe the sales amount can change. Maybe it started off, we estimate, so let me do the stages first, which were estimated, reported, audited, certified. Yeah, and Shane, I'm tempted to have you call in. Might do that. Actually, you know what, guys? What's wow, hour and a half already. Awesome. Let's time to open up the call phone-in lines. And if Shane, if you can join, that may speed things up. Okay, folks. So now I'm running like 3 systems. I'm streaming on YouTube, GoToMeeting, and now I use Zoom for this. So if you saw any hiccup with the audio video, let me know. I think this is one of the places where it was getting hit. So let's go back to the chat window. Okay, Shane, call in if you can, and I'll paste the link here. And others can too, but we'll, we'll focus on. So this is estimated, reported, audited, and certified. And by the way, folks, just the way that Eamon, Power BI and Advanced Excel, shared a link to an image, you can also share like files. So if you have like a template file that I can work with, that makes things go much faster usually. Then you can just put it up on OneDrive, G Drive, Dropbox, and say, hey, here's a link, Avi. Can you take a look at that? Of course, don't share anything sensitive. So I'll see if awesome, we do have a caller. Let's see if it is Shane. Shane. Oh, hi there. How are you doing? Hello.
Hi, Avi.
Hey, Shane. Have you talked before?
No, we haven't. No, my first time actually. I've only seen the YouTube playback.
Nice. So tell us a bit about yourself, and I'm almost like like ready to guess the location, but I would hold myself. But yeah, go ahead. Tell me a bit about yourself. Oh, you went back on mute? Yeah.
Located in Australia. So property
Okay.
retail management. So basically manage a bunch of
All right. Is it like commercial properties? I suppose so.
retail properties.
Oh, okay. Got it. All right. But
Sorry, I'm getting a little bit of feedback as well on this.
Oh, yeah. You would want to mute me on YouTube. Otherwise, yeah, you'll hear it from 2 places. Yeah, YouTube, you can pause that and actually hold on 1 second. Let me kind of share my screen here as well.
Okay,
so
that's better.
Switch to screen 2. Okay, so you can let me know if you can see my screen here on Zoom. So yeah, if you're on the call-in line with me, so you should be able to see my screen and hear me here.
Perfect. Can you hear me now?
That's great. Yep, awesome, loud and clear.
Okay,
all right.
Great.
Awesome.
So retail property management. So basically, we have a lot of tenants, or varying tenants within their retail centres. Each of those tenants report their sales monthly. Some tenants report on time, other tenants don't. Sometimes we have to estimate their sales. At other times, we may receive their certified sales. So for example, if we receive the estimated sales, then we report that. However, if we subsequently receive their reported or certified sales, we will then want to show those sales because they're at a much higher trusted level.
Got it.
Yep.
Oh man, this was so much better than us trying to go in the chat. So I think I understand the scenario. So for a given tenant, and so the date isn't going to be what I thought it was. So
January. You're on the right track. So the January estimated reported.
Reported, audited, certified. Okay. And sometimes, I mean, you would not have all 4 rows for all. It's not like it happens in order.
Correct.
I mean,
Correct.
sometimes you get the certified results and wait, I mean, so tell me, so if they don't submit, you do estimated.
Correct.
When they do submit, it comes in as reported, but then somebody audits it, moves to audited stage, and then somebody else certifies it, and then it moves to certified stage. Is that right?
Correct. That is correct.
Got it. So,
but all of those, all of that data remains in the system when we use our reports.
All right, man, this is really cool. So let's see. Let's do Contoso. Let's do Fabricam. This is the world I live in right now. These are, by the way, all the fictitious Microsoft companies. So date we almost don't care about. We'll figure that out. And this one, let's say this one is just estimated. Actually for Contoso. Okay, cool. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to build like a crude, simple data set, which can give us estimated reported. Reported, and then we'll say Contoso Fabricam, our favorite, of course, AdventureWorks. And one more. And I think this should be good enough for us. And we'll say estimated, reported, and then audited. That's great. And let's, I'm going to make my life a little bit simpler. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let's see. And the sales amount, once it, from estimated to reported can change, but from reported to audited, it wouldn't change. Or would it? Can it change?
It shouldn't, but it can.
Okay, it can. All right, so we'll just play that out. Actually, let's just go with that. So this is $100. This one, let's say $200, but then reported is maybe $150, and this one is $300. Reported is $250. Audited is $200. You know what? I don't like that. Let's just say. Let's go bullish, huh? So
we'd hope the sales would be higher than that. But yes, that's
audited a 400. Okay, cool. Anyway, all right. So if you got this, I think I have a good feeling about this. I think we can do this. Let's do. I better save this file for Eamon. So folks, yeah, this file, it goes in our Talk Power BI vault. This is the one that we solved for Eamon. And that one is, you can access the vault by going to talkpowerbi.com. So just give me 1 second. Talk Power BI 2019 201308 Eamon, and this was stage of life to date customer count. Okay, so that one is done, and let me create a new file and get started on that. Hey Anthony, I see you on the phone. I'm not sure. I know you had the International Women's Day comment, but yeah. So of course, folks on the phone, if you have any question at any time, just speak up. Let's just do new here. So Sean, while that's coming up, just tell me how did you first stumble on discover Power BI?
Oh, it'd be a little bit over 2 years now ago.
Nice.
I think it was on a Christmas break. I stumbled on it and been a big fan ever since, and really getting some traction within our company on using it. So.
That's great. Hey, that's the best Christmas gift anybody can receive. And tell me a bit about your company. How large is the company?
Oh, it's multinational, so it's
right.
very very large. yeah, our customer base is quite big. So
that's terrific.
Yeah.
And how has the adoption? So I'm a big believer in like the ground up movement. You know, so rather than like a CEO saying, "Oh, thou shall use this BI tool because we paid 100, you know, whatever, $3 million for it or something." You know, I like kind of the grassroots stuff. So how is it going on in the company? Like, is it spreading by word of mouth and more people are coming on? Are there departments who are kind of signed up now? Do you have a pro licenses? That's a crucial stage. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, we've only just moved into that phase of pro licenses, so the take up or the adoption within the business has been slow, and to a certain degree, that's been hampered through our IT department. So I find they're always very cautious on what they want to bring onto the platform.
You know, it's a weird dynamic. So business is all about kind of movement, bias for action, and IT. And again, I don't think it needs to be that way, but that's unfortunately the dynamic that exists or has evolved in a lot of companies where IT becomes, they stand for status quo, right? So if you talk about a change, their approach would be, and again, I don't want to throw everybody in IT under the bus, but it's a reality, so we got to kind of acknowledge that. You know, so they, instead of bias for action, they would say, well, you need to justify that change before we do it. Like, right? So you spend all this time kind of justifying, like, no, this is worth it. Versus, hey guys, can we try like a, so I, of course, believe a lot in agile BI and doing a minimum viable product. And I say, after all that, I mean, just try like a small project, see what it does. And usually it's mind-blowing.
And that's exactly what we did. So we trialed it on one of our larger customers, and you know, they've really loved the reporting systems that we've been able to provide them. So that's now, you know, helped for it to gain further adoption within the company.
That's exactly what I would advocate. Yeah. So yeah, I love making like one project, go after the low hanging fruit, and solve something which is harder and impossible in the old world, easy in the new world. And yeah, that becomes like this shining beacon of light. You know, it turns heads and like, how do you do that? Like, let me show you. Cool. So that's great. I'm happy for you. That's terrific. All right. So I wonder. I'm not sure if we'll need the calendar table in here. Maybe we would. Maybe. Maybe I'll load that up just in case. But come back here. So now let's do, so again, we have the table here. So I start simple. So Shane, I'm going to speak a little bit to kind of the audience. But frankly, when I'm doing consulting, I also think out loud. I so far, not many people have told me that it's annoying. Some people maybe have. But I do that because I want others to kind of understand my thought process, not just how to do it, right? I mean, that's like one part. So I'm going to think out loud, basically. So I have the data, and I always start with like a simple measure. Frankly, everybody should start there. The first measure you write should be like a sum or a count, or a count. That should be it. So, and sometimes I do both, almost regardless of what data I'm working with, just because, man, those are so powerful, and they also help me just understand the data. So we'll say sales, and we'll say sum. Are they reported as sales, or do you call it something else?
No, sales.
Amount.
Or tenant sales.
Okay, cool. And I'm not sure let's actually it did come in as the right amount. So let's bring in here. And when I'm writing measures, I have this concept, this idea. I think I've shared it on YouTube. I know it's in the course, which is I call it the working pivot, the reporting pivot, and the debug pivot. And let's do one thing. All right, cool. And the idea is that what I'm focused on right now is just to kind of debug things and build things. Why didn't it show anything here? Weird. Okay, there it is. So usually when I'm writing a measure and when I'm in this mode, kind of the working mode, that has nothing to do with how it would be displayed. And people often kind of like they jump to that part. They're like, oh, but I wanted to see it in a matrix and I want to see it on columns and I want to see this. Well, that comes later. I'm just trying to kind of build the thing. So sales 1600. Now that's of course not the right amount. So often I give it a different name, like step 1 or something like that. You can come up with a different naming convention, and often I also hide it from the report because this is a meaningless number. This number should never be shown. This value 1600 has no meaning, you know, to humans. Just yeah, it's like apples and oranges. So sometimes I would go in there and yeah, just hide it. But for now, I'll leave it be. So we have sales step 1, but now let's just go. So let's keep this one, and maybe we'll do we need, so let's do tenant, and let's do stage, and let's do stage number. Did that work? And stage, and stage number, I don't want you to summarize. And let's see what that looks like. Cool. So we have, maybe let's do it by tenant. Oh, it is by tenant. Okay, nice. So for AdventureWorks, we want to only count the audited one. For Contoso, there's only one. For Fabricam, so we want to count the highest number there is. Huh. Highest number there is.
And the highest number would be the stage number, Avi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So if we say, give me sales, and I want to go tenant by tenant. Oh gosh, yeah, I got it. So I'll go row by row, and I'll say, hey, if for this tenant, for now I'll ignore time. So for this tenant, is it the maximum one? Let's give it a shot. It's the maximum one. Boy, so this is a good kind of crossroads because I realized that we can solve it in the query editor as well. But I think DAX, if we can do it, that'll be more fun. So we talked about decision points. So we're at one here. Solve in query editor or DAX. Okay, I'm going to take a shot at DAX. If I can't make DAX work, then I'll go back and solve in query editor and then maybe do the DAX solution offline because I don't know. I'm more excited about the DAX solution, so let's try it. So let's say sales, and I know I'm going. So I want to go tenant by tenant. So what if we say tenant? How do I go tenant by tenant? Maybe it's some x. So I know I need an x function. I don't iterate. So values tenant. Maybe we need a lookup table as well. Okay. Oh gosh. So values tenant. Or are we iterating over the sales table? Tenant sales. So go row by row and go row by row, and then I want you to check what is the stage number. If stage number is equal to the max stage number where I want to clear the filter. Oh man, I feel I'm so close. So I want to see the max stage number for that tenant. Calculate. So I'm in that row, and I want you to clear the stage. Got it. Next stage num. All. Oops. Let's just do it step by step. What if you can calculate the max stage number for that tenant? Can we do that? Calculate max stage when all tenant sales. Let's try that. And I'm going to remove the stage for a bit. Okay, so let's do sales, and we're going to call it work progress. Great. Oh, nice. Okay. So you heard me say before, human learning comes before machine learning. So human learning precedes machine learning. So basically I'm trying to teach myself, like, how would a human do it, right? So, and again, human beings are really smart. Well, right now we are smarter than machines, I think. Smarter than Power BI, believe it or not. So we make intuitive leaps. Like, for a human, this is like a trivial problem, but again, because we are pretty intuitive, we can jump from one thing to the next. And once you explain the structure, you know, I can just visually say, yep, you know, count this, count this, count this. But what did we actually do, right? So you have to break it down into step by simple, small step. Well, we actually, again, we jumped around. Human beings are intuitive, but what we did was we went to this row, and let's focus on this row, and we evaluated that, oh, I'm on this row, I'm on AdventureWorks. What is the maximum stage number for AdventureWorks? It is 3. Okay, got it. So we scanned this data, and then we said, does 3 match this number I see right here? It does. Cool, then I count this, right? So that's the step-by-step that stuff happening. It's happening here too. So I look at this row, and I'm like, oh, I'm looking at 2 here, but I'm also looking at AdventureWorks. Now, AdventureWorks says the highest number is 3. Does it match this? No, it doesn't. Then I'm going to ignore it, right? So that's what a human is doing. And again, it happens so fast, you don't realize you're doing it, right? And that's what I'm teaching Power BI now. So I started with simple step. Like, Power BI needs to know this number to begin with. So I taught Power BI that, like, here, I'm helping it, I'm holding its hands. Like, Power BI, here, just focus on one step at a time. So now you got the number 3, and now you need to just see if they match, right? That's the next step that the human was doing. So now we're going to do it step by step. Okay, cool. All right, let's see. So what if we say, so step, whenever you say step by step, something like that, that's usually an X function, that's an iterator. Filter is an X function as well. And sometimes, man, it's tricky. Like, which function? Let's just choose with filter. So we say filter. What are we filtering? We're filtering the tenant sales table. So go row by row. And for every row, you calculate the max stage number. Got it. But then check if the stage number in that step, tenant sales stage number, and again, we already saw how a human does it. We're just teaching the same thing to Power BI. Does it match that? Does it match that? And maybe we just stop right there, and maybe I'm just gonna test if that returns is valid or not. And frankly, I don't know what I'm going to get, so let's just test it. Oh shoot, that didn't work. Okay, we'll debug that. So let's say, let's go back. V1 was. Oh, hold on, guys. So this was step 1. I'm just gonna write. So I'm gonna keep this one as a new measure. Yeah, I'm disappointed. That should have worked. V1 was calculate this. So this thing worked. Oh man, why is it erroring out? Maybe I have a syntax error. So this worked, and now I was just trying to do match these two to see if they match. Maybe I say filter tenant styles. What is it complaining about? Okay, what if we say is blank should be fine. Filter tenant sales, go row by row, and for every row check what is the stage number, and then you calculate stage number by saying that, and it's saying refers to multiple columns. Okay. Oh, that's not quite right. So you can see the matching didn't work. It's saying one for every one of them, and I think I have a clue why. So when it goes in here in this row, so we're just going to focus on one row. So by the way, that's a great way to debug DAX measures. You just focus on this, actually one cell. So I'm going to focus on this cell because I know the result is wrong. I didn't expect this to return 1. It should have been a 0. I'm trying to match this to this, and it shouldn't match. So what I'm saying, go row by row in tenant sales, and then check the value of the tenant sales stage num, and I'm pretty sure that's going to return 2. So I'm confident about this number, although I can test that using kind of a variable or something like that. But then I think this part is wrong, and so it's saying calculate. Oh gosh, yeah, I see what's going on here. Calculate max tenant sales. Got it. So it goes in there and it says calculate the max of stage num. It's getting in these filters. Tenant sales step 1.
Avi,
Yeah.
isn't that the all argument from calculate ignores all the whatever stage num is?
It is. Yeah. Max. Man, so it's saying calculate. Okay, so when we go in there, it says give me the maximum, but what is the filter context right now? It is all the tenant sales. What if we were doing it by, if we had a lookup table? Maybe that would work. Let's try that really quick. Oh, no. That. So, yeah, I think I know what's going on. It's transitioning the row context to a filter context. What if we said calculate max? We just set all tenant sales, all except maybe all except tenant sales, and we said tenant. That's weird. All except, oh, got it, and column name, stage num, no, all except the tenant. So clear everything except the tenant. Calculate that filter count rows. All right. Whew. Oh my God. Why was I ever doubting myself? Cool. Let's see if it, so it you know, the ones disappeared, but that's great. And let's see if it's accurate though. So three matches 3, that's great. 1 matches 1, that's great. And 2 matches 2, that's great. So we're on to the right rows. Now folks, why was I stuck there? Because even though the sales V1, so notice this was right. It was, you know, kind of 3 here and this 1 to 2 here, and all. So right, I mean, think about this. I mean, I had this set of numbers here, this set of numbers here. This was the right result, and I was just trying to compare these two. But then why did I run into trouble when I created this version, which is because there's something else that happened in here. So again, the step V1, let's look at that step. That was calculating something, and that's great, right? And it was giving us the right result. Those are the numbers we wanted to compare with each other. But it's operating right now on the filter context coming in for, let's say, and again, when you're debugging it, it's on a specific cell. What's the filter context here? The filter context is tenant is AdventureWorks, and tenant stage num is 2. That's a filter context. So, all right. So if this is like, oops, oh gosh, I think the call dropped. Oh, okay, it's gonna end in 10 minutes. Okay, cool. So if this is like way beyond, you're like, Avi, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's okay. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then give it time. All right. But if you have been on the journey, if you are certainly part of the course, then you've probably seen all the videos there. If you're just on YouTube, I would recommend the DAX I Can module. And of course, in the course, this is covered filter context, row context, and everything. But on YouTube, you can focus on this. So let's go back here. And often when things go wrong, and folks, I'll admit, sometimes I'm not able to solve it. In this case, I would. So might as well explain the way I was thinking. So V1 worked. I could see that it worked, right? So when I took this thing, when I took this sales V1, and actually let's substitute that in here. So in here, it stopped working, and because there was something different with the filter context, and the something different was what's called a row context transition, which happens when you have this interplay of filter and calculate. So filter creates a row context, and what calculate does is it transitions that to a row context, right? So that's what was happening, and that was the part that's different. So I had to counter that. So okay, so now we got the right result, but now instead of, we don't need count rows, so let's just do let's just do a new version of this. And obviously you're not going to do like 3 versions in a production system, but I'm just doing it so I can kind of keep track of what I'm doing. So now all I have to do is, instead of count rows, we need to do calculate some. Okay, so we'll say calculate, and I already have a sales, right? Sales step 1. So the raw measure, I want the calculate step 1, but only filtered to the rows that we're kind of matching here. Okay, so I'm really hopeful, really hopeful for this. We'll see. And all systems are go as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so that calculated, didn't give an error. I'm gonna save the file. Oh, I haven't even saved it yet. Ooh, gotta save it. So let's go to 2019, and we're in the right spot. 2019 0308. This is for, and I'm just gonna check how you spell your name. Shane Bar, got it. So we'll go over here, Shane Bar, and we're working on, highest level of sales. Okay, man, this is fun. Well, partly because I was able to solve it. It's slightly less fun. Okay, actually, I shouldn't say. You shouldn't count your chickens before they hatch. Let's see if it worked. It did. I think it did. Perfect. Great. So Shane, what do you think? Is this solution work?
That's brilliant. That's absolutely what I'm after. I've been stuck on this for almost 12 months. So thank you.
Got it. Great. This is awesome. So guys, this is what I talk about when I talk about real Power BI. That's where the real learning is, right? So I mean, and I didn't quite kind of realize that, but every single thing I've built has that premise, right? So including Talk Power BI, including the course, including the higher levels that I've offered. So this is awesome. So Shane, kudos to you for one, kind of evangelizing it and carrying this flag inside your company. It's not always an easy burden, but it's the result that you can have, the impact you can have is amazing. And really, sure, the impact on revenue and all is great, and yep, sure, everybody goes for that. But I really feel, for me, what I feel more passionate about is the impact on people. Impact on that one person who's stuck in the data dungeon, cranking away reports. They're not really doing their job. Maybe they were hired as a finance analyst or a sales analyst or something else, maybe a salesperson, but they're just cranking out reports. And now they can free themselves from that, focus on the job, and man, it changes lives. So that's what you're doing. I don't want you to discount that. And I definitely see you as a leader. I definitely see you as a leading organization in this direction, bold new direction. And I don't know or care what your title is, because leadership, I've realized, has nothing to do with the title. You can just assume the role of that, right? So that's awesome, my friend. And I'm glad we were able to help you here today.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
All right, great. Folks, I had some other thoughts. So yeah, learning by doing, that's what I talked about. And yeah, Shane was stuck here for 12 months. Now, of course, why? I mean, that's, and of course, I mean, I can, I would help everybody if I could, but it's not feasible. So yeah, I try to help everybody I can through kind of YouTube, but then I do want to help people who choose to step into that, if they will. So of course, that's why we have kind of the course, and then we have the Pro and the Pro Plus level. You know what? If you guys are cool with that, I'm gonna post a quick video which does explain the different levels. But regardless of that, I mean, you don't have to watch me on YouTube. You don't have to join my course. The main message is focus on the doing part, right? So, I mean, you can spend a lot. I know people, I come across them who have read all the books, who follow all the blogs, watch all the videos, but I see their work and I see them struggling, and it's so that stuff is okay, but the key is, you got to learn, you got to apply. But this is when problems happen, where you're going to get stuck and fail all the time, right? You're gonna ram your head against something, and that's where it helps to get some help, right? So and then once you break through, you're like, okay, I got it, solved it, and you just keep repeating it. So the agile approach to learning, that's what Power BI is about, the agile BI. So learn it the same way and focus on kind of doing it, practicing. That's awesome. So let's see if I can find the video. I'm going to share it really quick. Hey, Steve. I want to let you know that my friend that we should have like a cutoff for you. So obviously, I mean, stay as long as you can.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
if I have to go, I'll go.
Okay, awesome, great.
I'm not shy.
All right, perfect.
All right.
Okay, let's see. Awesome. Got that. Let's come back over here in the chat window. So, folks, yeah, if you're oh shoot, didn't want to do that. Okay, got it. This time I got it. Okay, if you are interested in seeing kind of the way our programs are structured, that's the link there. And of course, I mean, the general enrollment is closed, but you can add yourself to the wait list. All right. Now, I feel, though, that Shane's journey is not yet complete on this, because we didn't account for Shane Bar. Let's see, sales for highest level of tenant. This is a good one, and yeah, okay, cool. And I think there's some next steps. Next steps would be connect a calendar table, and I would say I don't expect it to work. Modify measure to respect the date. So basically, and again, you always operate in a set of assumptions. So I ignored time for now to simplify the problem, and that's okay. And often Power BI is kind of peeling the onion. You go step by step. So for now, I said, I'm just going to ignore date, right? So the next step would be is to have this for multiple months, right? So I don't know why it came in as January 19th. It's just month. But imagine if there was data for Fabricam for not just January, but for other months as well. And I think the assumption that I went in, the measure wouldn't work. It would fail. It would, yeah, you can try it out. But so if it eventually works, had let's say Contoso had, one here, and for another month it had 1, 2, and so forth. It wouldn't work, and so it needs to be modified for that. So, but we'll leave it here for now. Okay, let's see. I better save this file. And so Steve catch me up. Has there been anything new on the discussion?
No, not that I could see.
Okay.
I think people were sort of mesmerized by that last, the last project. I was. It was good.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think I had a deer in the headlights moment for a bit there too. I'm glad I pulled through. Okay, so Sean, absolutely. Sean is like an honorary member on Talk Power BI now. I think 2 weeks in a row, Sean has given me a question which I give the gold star. So let's check in, Sean. Got it. Awesome. So Yeah, folks. So let's get Sean's question, and the call-in line is, I need to reactivate it. So Sean, I'm gonna scroll up. Sherry is here. Hey Sherry, good to see you here. Great stuff. Excited about the things upcoming. Women in Power BI. Fine. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, she had to jump off. Okay, cool. So I'm back with another question that seems easy, but it's tricky. Hey, you know I love those, right? Email your PBIX file and call in when ready. Okay. Okay, I want to see if so Gajanand has asked if I want to talk to you. So Gajanand, we're gonna open up the phone lines and you can call in. Although you didn't specify a question, so I have no idea what you want to talk about. So we'll either do that, but just put a post, just tell me something a little bit about what you want to talk about. But we're gonna switch to Sean. Oh gosh, I'm always excited. So let's see. Let's see next steps. Oh gosh, that one is not Sean McDonald. And so guys, step by step, let me first go here. So the last video on the channel, if you watched it, you would see that it has a familiar name. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Oh, damn it. Hold on. Sean, I'm going to try to queue you up. Where did that go? Ah, oh, dang it. That was too quick. There we go. Yeah, so, yeah, Sean, anyway, I'm just messing around. Okay, cool. So, let's open up the call lines again. Sorry, I'm on the free plan there, so it times out 40 minutes, and we were hanging out with Shane for a while. So there we go. The link is open. So Sean, I'm not sure. The last time, did we actually talk? Maybe we did. Oh, I totally forgot about the stuff that we're supposed to do. So folks, kind of a side note, we had, no wonder I forgot, opening. Oh, I can't type after 2 hours of live, apparently. So we started doing this in our team meetings, and it's, yeah, we love it. So we might try a version of this here. All right, is the phone line open? Not yet, it seems. What happened there? Launch meeting. Is it working? It's not coming up for me. Oh, there it is. Oh. Oh. Okay, got it. I think I'm on. Awesome. So, Sean, yeah, try to follow that link that I posted in the YouTube chat, and we'll go from there. Pedro, sorry I missed your question. Yeah, these are almost impossible to go sequentially. So hey, folks, if I missed your question, when I like switch from one question to the next, just type it in then, and yeah. So, Pedro, yeah, I can't find now what your question was. Oh, okay, so I do see it.
So, yeah.
Visual is exporting blank. Check that if it's a custom visual. A lot of custom visuals don't export well. Okay, cool. So I'll circle back with you. That's the question he had, right? Did I get the right, Pedro? Steve?
Yes, it was about the exporting blank. I believe so.
Yeah. All right, Sean, doesn't show that you have audio yet. Oh, maybe you're dialed
Hey there,
in.
Avi.
Hey, so Sean, you're dialed in on the phone. I just want to make sure I'm talking to you.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Hi, how are you?
Have we talked the last time you had the gold star question for me? Did we talk that time?
Yes, yes. And then one before that too.
Oh, great, awesome.
Which is the ultimate the ultimate measure.
Oh, I forgot all about that. Oh yeah, that's true. Oh gosh, that was mind blowing. That's great. All right, so what do you have for me today, my friend? Oh, you said you sent me a file. Let me pull that up.
Yeah. Did you want to also share your screen?
Yes. Let's do that. And did you email it to me? We don't have a.
Yes, emailed it.
Cool. Yeah, we haven't. Yeah, I want to streamline that part, submitting a file for these, but that's all good, as long as I can open it. So maybe tell me a little bit about the problem as I'm opening the file.
Yeah, no problem. So basically what I have is I have a pricing table of for a product, and every time the price changes, a new row gets entered into that table.
Yeah.
And what the client wants to know is, show me the price of today and the price that it was for the same day last year.
Okay. Okay. Well, actually,
it seems simple, but the table is not contiguous, and I was stuck in knowing whether I should do it in modeling or in DAX. It's one of those.
When you're talking about contiguous, you're talking about the dates, right? Dates are not contiguous?
Yeah, the date of the price changes is not contiguous. That's what.
Well, yeah, but that's why we have the ultimate calendar. And frankly, anytime you have date or date something, you need a calendar table, and that's the rule of the calendar table. All dates have to be contiguous. So I'll connect those two, and just the way we do sales last year, it'll be show me the price, you calculate a measure, and then you say calculate the same measure but comma same period last year, or date add if you want to do it that way. What do you think?
Yeah. Okay, so I connected the calendar table to it in the file, but for some reason,
okay,
I couldn't look up just one single value for a specific date, because the price table didn't have that date.
Got it. All right. Let's take a look. And yeah, thanks for sending the file. So folks, while the file is loading, I wanted to go back really quick on the Shane bar, and there are actually lots of, man, what is my gold star? Oh, there it is. There's a gold star. I'm going to copy that. So Shane bar has certainly earned it. Maybe it should go in the start. Okay, cool. Because there are more layers to this, and I realized, for one, we have to solve for date, but then the bigger one, and I love this one. So normally, DAX and query editor are pretty simple. DAX is, well, actually, I should say query editor, and there's no verses, but I somehow wrote that way. That's okay. So query editor is where you do, that's a kitchen of Power BI. That's where you do the clean shape transform. DAX is where you do the math, right? If I find you doing clean shape transform in DAX, I'm going to slap you on the wrist. Actually, no, but something like that. And if I find you doing math in the query editor, again, you're going to get a slap on the wrist. Well, you actually don't get a slap on the wrist. All I ask is why. So it's okay to break rules, all the rules that I mentioned here, as long as you're aware that you're breaking them and you know why you're breaking them. Simple as that. Right? So again, the rules are clean up in the query editor, clean shape transform, adding columns, anything like that. I don't remember the last time I did an add column in DAX, right? It should be in the query editor. Math should be in DAX. But the fun part is when you come to something, again, at a decision point, and we did acknowledge that, we acknowledged this decision point, where like, I realized that I could solve in both. And in some cases, it's not as clear as that. It's not clear that which is the better approach. So this one has a query editor solution, and it's right now I can't, like, I will have to try out the query editor and then look at both of them and say, hey, and again, it's not about right or wrong, it's about pros and cons. It's about weighing the trade-offs. So DAX solution gives me this, query editor gives me this. So maybe in my situation, this is better. And that's the stuff that I really love. And that's a sign of you made it to the big leagues, my friend, where you're not just focused on solving a problem, but you can see like a few ways to solve the problem. And not just that, you can try both of them and then really, you can assess the trade-offs. You realize that, oh, this is what I get by this way, this is what I get by this way, and then make a decision, make a call from that. All right, the file is finally open. All right, great. So let's look at, again, I'm going to talk out loud. Sean, you probably would have heard this stuff. So the first thing that I always look at is the relationship view. Doesn't matter who I'm working with, and that's the visual. So this one is simple, and that's great. That's fine. Now, usually I'm looking for so lookup table and data table. Product price is, I would consider it a data table in this case, so that's great. And it's got this calendar lookup table, awesome. And I look for one to star, and that's there. Now I look for one directional relationship. This is bidirectional. So if I'm working with a client, I'll just note that in my head. I maybe write it down in my notes that I'll ask them about that. So Sean, for now, I'm not going to ask you that. We're going to come back to that. For now, I'm like, okay, cool. I just noted it in my head. Product price. So actually, you know what? Product price.
No, this one was unintentional, Avi. When I was just setting up the question.
Oh, okay, great.
And I was making this file just for the question, and then
got it.
I did it quickly, and then Power BI assumed
perfect. So
default.
let's just change that. That's great. So again, guys, you should start with the default. And again, this is like the default, the rule. But as I say, you can always break the rule. Just be aware and know why you're doing it, right? So this is the default. Now, one culprit is this setting in Power BI, which says auto detect relationships. I would like to turn it off, but I think it's a file-based setting. So I'll show you. Where is this? Is it file-based? I thought it was file-based. Oh yeah, it is file-based. So I really wish, and maybe instead of wishing, I should submit this as an idea, that this stuff was not a current file setting, it was a global setting. Because, yeah, you should create your model with intention. Every single thing should be with intention, certainly the relationship. So the auto detect sometimes does its own thing, and yeah, you want to watch out for that. All right, cool. So again, simple table, simple stuff, easy to say. So we'll start off there, and then I'm going to look at the data table, just kind of see what's going on, and let's see what the product price table has. Okay, it has a few rows. I just want to see, and I know this is sample data, but there's only one product, and that's okay. And there's a whole bunch of dates. Cool. From one year to the next. So if you go over here, and I'm not even going to look at the question. I'm just going to study kind of the product price. Oh, we don't have a measure, so that's the first thing I would build. And again, explicit measures rather than implicit. Good idea to kind of make it a habit. And I'll admit, sometimes I don't do it either. But for now, since I'm live on YouTube, I'll follow my best practice and write something. So we'll just say product price. And let's just go with max product price. It doesn't feel right to sum it up. So we'll just say max product price equals max price. And the rule here, and this one you should follow all the time. There shouldn't be any exceptions. Which is if you're referring to a column name, it should precede the table name. You don't have to. This would still work, but you should. And if you're referring to another measure, then it should not have a table name. You can put the table name in front of the measure, but you should not. The good reasons for that. So okay, cool. So we got this, and max product price, and so we have it. We have it by date, and I'm just gonna kind of put this there and play with it a little. So max product price. Okay, we're working with. Okay, cool. That's good. And maybe I'll also trend it over date. See how that looks like. And I'll put date on there. Cool. So I see what Sean was talking about, that it's not contiguous, and that's okay. I got it. So let's go back to here. All right. So show the current price, and so price today is March 8th. Price of today is price of last year same day. I think I'm kind of feeling the problem here. So today is okay. Let's see this in a table. Sean, by the way, really good job kind of setting it up for me.
Yeah, no problem.
So let's go over here and the table. Okay, cool. And let's add like a year filter there somewhere. And we'll say list. So this goes to 2019. So we look at 2019. Let's see what kind of data it has. So 2019, January, and I do take often a lot of screenshots. If the model relationship diagram was complicated, that was the first thing. Well, not complicated, but you know, it had a little more stuff. Then that's the first thing that I would, you know, might as well start the timestamp. 11, maybe about 25. Okay, January 17, but I think I'm feeling the problem here. So what I'm expecting is when I'll go back in 2018, well, there might not be. This is just the product price changes. Is that right?
That's right. It's only the changes.
Yeah.
And the price is the same until the change happens again.
Yep. Got it. This is a good one. I like it. So let me put these two kind of side by side. So
you can also think about it as like a stock price, if you think of an analogy.
Well, I like this scenario. I mean, I think stock price. Well, yeah. I mean, maybe. Yeah. Okay. I got it. I mean, this is a good. And so for now, it seems to be checking all the boxes. It's definitely a valid business scenario. It seems a simple kind of question to ask. Like, yep, you know, price this year, price last year. Simple, but it's not straightforward. So looking good for a gold star. But let's see, first solve it. I don't know if it's going to be a rule that we only give gold star to the one that I can solve. Maybe not.
Avi, Anthony here.
Hey, Anthony, how you doing?
Can I suggest something?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Power query fill down.
Fill down. Yeah, that's true. I was thinking about that. So I love this one. So let's go back to Shane Bars. And Shane Bar, we had a decision point. We could do it in Query Editor or DAX. And we have the same one over here. So, and the idea is that to blow the table up. So we will gosh, I'm pretty tempted to do it. So basically we will go here and make it contiguous. So we'll create rows from, let's say January 17 to January 30th, and we would fill down using 1.03. So I can definitely see that, and I can that's like within reach. Now the only risk, of course, there, not a risk, but again we said that this is going to be a trade-off. So let's just call it out. So we'll say query editor. This is gonna blow up the number of rows, and I don't know. So and again, I'm gonna like. So we acknowledge that now. Of course, and that's why I said there are no right or wrong answers. It depends on you, what you're dealing with. So you have to make the call. If you have a small data set, blowing the number isn't much of a problem. So if you have a limited number of products and limited time range, but you can imagine if somebody had thousands, 10,000, 500,000, or let's say 10,000 products, 10,000 products, and they had a history over multiple years, let's say 20 years, 10 years, something like that, right? And and again, I'm just really dialing up the knob, right? Really exaggerating it. Sometimes you can't test a solution in the current state. You dial it up and you say, okay, well, what if it had this, right? And what is called a sparse data set. So product pricing typically only changed, let's say, and again, I'm making it up, only changed twice in a year. We didn't know the exact date, but so yeah, it was sparse. So imagine this data set coming in, it'll be still small, even in this scenario. So 10,000 products, 10, 20 years, but they're only changing twice. Well, it's going to be 10,000 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 2. That's it, right? That's not a big number. That's pretty small. But now if we expanded that to 365 rows for every product, well, that's 10,000 times 365, right? Yeah. So that, so but anyway, I think that could still be a valid solution. That's still viable. I'm going to park that there, and let's just kind of explore the DAX route and see how far we can get. And if we get stuck, maybe we'll come back and solve it in the query editor using exactly the approach that Anthony prescribed. All right, cool. So first thing that we need, though, is what is the price today? We don't have that. Like, it's telling me right now all we have is the price change. I'm not interested in that. I want to ask the question, what is the price today? So, and I have a feeling if we can answer that, we'll answer the other one. So let's say, what is the price today? So let's just do a new one. And I'm going to add a date. Perfect. Oh, nice. This is so beautiful. And get over here, copy this, and is it probably going to ask me if I want to sync it, which may be good, maybe not. There we go, sync. Awesome feature. Sure. Okay, so I'm getting these dates. Nice. I'm going to blow up the size a little bit. Oh, nice. Really cool. And I'm going to put the max price in there. And you'll notice what's going to happen. It's going to shrink the table quite a bit, because by default, it only shows the dates which have values, right? So it shrunk the table as I expected. Now you can change that behavior. You can go in there and say, no, I want to see all the rows. And you can say show items with no data. And it's going to blow it up again, right? So you can see, right? So it has, oops, let's scroll up. Yeah, it has all the dates, but by default, the default behavior only shows me for that one. So I'm going to turn that default behavior back on. Okay. Actually, sorry, I changed my mind. Let's see all the dates. All right. So, but now I wanna calculate a measure which says, hey, today is January 21. What is the price of the product? Right. So let's calculate that. Okay. So I'm gonna find what. So again, human learning comes before machine learning. So right now I'm thinking, how would a human do it? And again, not in an intuitive way, but how would a human really do it? If you break down that intuition, right? Human learning comes before machine learning, right? So you see, I repeat the same stuff all the time, and guys, I mean, this stuff isn't hard. It's just, you kind of, it's funny. You have to like dumb yourself down to get Power BI. So how would a human do it? Like, and again, I mean, intuitively, I can tell. Intuitively, like, January 25, 1.03. But how am I really doing it? How am I really doing it? Well, what I'm doing is I scan backwards, maybe, and I find the first price. Okay, now what does that really mean? What does that really mean? So I find the maximum date for which the price is available. Maybe I can work with that. So if I say, hey, find the maximum date, do I do that?
If I can, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maximum date smaller than today.
Smaller than today. Yeah, let's work with that. Okay, cool. So let's try. So maximum date smaller than today. So let's call it a product current price, and we'll call it the progress. And so so what is the date that I'm working on? And we'll say current date equals selected value date. Select value. Let's try that. Current date, return current date. So so we're working towards what Anthony suggested, but we'll do it kind of step by small teensy tiny step. So we'll say what is the current date, and I expect it to return just the date right there. So it's not doing much, but that's okay. We got a start of our measure. Actually, yeah, we'll leave it that. All right, so yeah, all it's doing is just telling me that, oh yeah, I detect this date, I detect this date, I detect this date. That's great. So well, what if we said, oh gosh, yeah. So this is, so now what do we got to do? We gotta scan the calendar table. We gotta scan the calendar table. Scan, basically check row by row. That's what I'm really trying to say. And whenever you hear yourself saying words like that, row by row, step by step, there is an iterator function, or maybe we don't need that. I don't know. Hold on. So let's try. So we need to clear the filter. All calendar. Let's just try it with filter, and then we'll go from there. So we'll say var. I don't even know what to call it because I don't know what I'm building. So var test, and I know. Let's just start with filter. So we'll say filter all calendar. I know I need to start working with all calendar, right? Because if I'm working with this one date, right now all I'm getting this one date, then I can't do anything, right? I mean, I know I need to like expand that. So let's just do all calendar and then go from there. So all calendar. Oh, actually no, that doesn't feel right. I'm trying to calculate the maximum date. Gosh, so what if we said calculate max of calendar date, max calendar date, but in what conditions? Max of calendar date. I think we got this. We got this. So we'll say, okay, cool. So let's just actually stop kind of right there, and see this one. Max date. So right now it is not going to do anything. It's going to return the same value. Right? So it's still returning January 1, 2, 3, and that's okay. But we'll say no, not just where I am, but do all calendar. Okay, got it. And can you guess what it's going to return now? We'll see. Well, it says, sure, all calendar, that's the maximum date I got. So cool. But I'm saying, no, that's not what I meant. Less than today. Actually, the maximum date, which is less than today, that's fine. But it also needs to have sales. Actually, it's actually I don't think less than, because it can be today's date. Like if I'm looking at, let's see.
I have an idea. If you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in Max, you're looking at calendar date. Yeah. Try to replace with effective date from product price.
Ooh, we could do that.
in,
Ooh, I
in
like that.
Max.
I like that. I like
Inside
that.
Max.
Okay, cool. So we'll hold that thought. I think that's definitely gonna work. Would it? Yes, that is gonna work. And maybe we'll try both ways. But I have another idea, and I'm just gonna try that, see if it works. What do we have? Product price. Product price. Max calendar, all calendar. Oh shoot, no. Yeah, I like Anthony's solution. So instead of calendar date, we'll say go to max of product price. Oh man. Hold on, I'm just gonna sit here for a second. Is there a way to solve this? Max calendar date, all calendar. Okay. Product price, effective date. So give me the max. I do need to clear the filter. Let's stay with that. And we'll say less than today. Got it. So we'll say all calendar. And F product price effective date is less than or equal to current date. I have a good feeling about this, friends. Good feeling. Let me read it again. So go to the product price table. Forget the calendar. I mean, do clear the calendar. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's see. Holy moly, look at that. So it is telling me that, yeah, it's saying, oops, let's see. Oops, let's try that again. So January 17th, it says, yep, I got a date for you, January 17th. January 18th says, well, I didn't find anything here. January 17th, look at the last one, the last one, the last one, the last one. And then, of course, January 31, it picks this up and goes from there. Thank you. Okay, so now, but we don't really care about the date. We care about the price. We care about the price on that day, and that should be pretty easy. So we'll say price on max date. Price on max date, and I'll say calculate. We already have the max product price. Calculate the max product price, but for that specific date. So again, we're gonna clear kind of the calendar field. Calendar. So clear the calendar, because otherwise it's just gonna keep giving us like January 18th, January 19th. So clear the calendar, and then we're gonna say calendar. Actually, date. Calendar date equals max date. I have a good feeling about this, but hey, price and the proof is in the pudding. Price on max date. Holy moly! All right, cool. Price on max date. So we have daily prices. And of course, if you have the we don't have oh man, if you don't have a flag in the ultimate calendar, there's nothing in the ultimate calendar which tells you what is the current day. I think that needs to be changed. As far as I can remember, yeah, there's something which there's stuff which tells you the current month. Yeah, that would be nice. So if it said, hey, what is the current price, and it said March 8th, the price is this. You know, the price right now is 1.06. Maybe let's actually. So frankly, our problem is solved last year. So we can take product current price, and this is where I love guys. I love this stuff, because once you solve it, and the hardest problem that I solved in Power BI, it took me 1 month to solve it. All right, just 1 month. It was Like, yeah, I mean, and believe me, I mean, can you imagine how much of whiteboarding and all this stuff and beating my head against the wall? It took me 1 month, but once you solve it, it's done, right? So now that I've solved it, now if I want to do the same like price last year, this is what I would do. Here, I'll say calculate current this, and we'll change the name from work in progress. Same period last year. Calendar date. Now, I have high hopes for this, but sometimes this stuff doesn't work, and that's okay. But we'll give it a shot and see how that goes. Usually, you would expect this to work. Oh gosh, Avi, do you like this stuff or no? Let's see. All right, time to test it. And notice that it has it switches at different times, right? So obviously the current price switched when we got 1.03 on January 17th, but my prediction is that there was a price change on January 11th, 2018. That's why we changed it from 0.9596. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's do this, my friend. So again, can you remember this? I'll try to make sure. I predict that January 11th, 2018 had a price change, 2.96. January 11th, the price changed from 0.95 to 96. All right, so Sean, what do you think? Is this, so obviously you would have to select like what is the current date. You would have to tell the model that, but once you give it that information, it'll always be able to tell you what is the current price and what was the price on the same date last year. Does this kind of solve what you're looking for?
Okay, it looks good. Do you mind just looking at my answer key just to check the current date? And I have, by the way, I have up to
March 8, yes.
like 2 or 4 decimal places. It could be
okay.
like it could be some rounding as well. Yeah.
Got it. All right, let's get this here and put it over on our solution page. Folks, that was really cool though. I mean, you saw how Sean kind of, well, he didn't like, hey, Avi, thank you. No, let's just test it. So yeah, so measures, you should, it's good to have like test cases and stuff like that. So we'll test it for this. And while we're here, we're going to increase the product price, and we'll change the work in progress word. And we'll say, just give me a few more decimals. Okay, is that good enough? 4. Okay, price last year. All right, and we were testing for March 8th. For now, I'm just going to scroll down and see it. So on March 8th, the current price is 1.059, and last year is 0.999. So yeah, I think
beautiful, beautiful.
Awesome. Great. So we're going to save this file in our Talk Power BI vault if you need access to any of the files, any of the notes. And now we know you're going to get special invites to the master classes planned, which are not going to be taught by me, and I couldn't be happier about that. They're going to be taught by other folks. One on sales and one on financial dashboards. Okay, cool. So we'll see 2019. 0308, and this was Sean. I think Sean is in a good position. If he started doing like Talk Power BI Hall of Famers, he's got like 3 in a row now. So product price current year last year, and sparse data non contiguous. Okay, the file is there, and again, just go to talkpowerbi.com to get the file, and I'll add some notes here. Oh gosh, what was I? Oh yeah, what was the question about? Product price current and prior year with sparse data. Only price changes. Holy moly, that was something, folks. Definitely a gold star. Unbelievable. But you know, I mean, you see why I love this stuff and what I talk about it, right? I mean, what? Yeah, guys. I mean, so I know when I created the course that I didn't want to create an encyclopedia because those don't work. You know, those never work. Frankly, if you think about courses and online courses, and even if you go in person, if you go to, let's talk about an in-person class. And how much of that do you really absorb? You know, in-person classes can be exciting. I love going to those, and I love meeting people, and I love meeting the instructor and so forth. And you can ask questions, sure, but it's drink from the fire hose, and yeah, it's hard to retain even a small percentage of that. How much do you retain the next day? How much do you retain the next week, the next month, the next year? Right? So, and online courses are the same. I mean, so some of my students I was talking to, and so I heard two things. I would heard one, which is like, oh gosh, I haven't gone through the course yet. I need to go through the course. I need to go through the course. And I'm like, you don't have to feel that way. And another thing that I would hear is, oh gosh, I need to get better at Power BI. I need to get really good at Power BI. I need to become an expert at it. And I'm like, no, you need none of those things. You don't need to complete my course. You don't need to get really good master expert Power BI. Guys, it's all about simply impact, right? So, of course, now what I'm focused on is building this people, helping them go beyond just the technicals. Oh gosh, that's a horrible pyramid, right? Taking them beyond just the Power BI. So let's say that these are the Italians, right? And as far as I'm concerned, they're at the top of the freaking mountain, right? So, oh gosh, so Alberto Riso, Marco Ferrari, man, they're legends. You know, they're up there. And let's say you're over here, right? You're over here, and maybe I'm a few steps ahead of you, my friends. You know, right? I'm here, but it doesn't matter where I am. And you're like, ooh, I need to get to the top. I need to get to the top. I need to get to the top. And that's all you focused on. What you're missing out on is the folks you can help right freaking now. Sorry, when I get excited, my vocabulary. So everybody who's over here, you can help them. And if you think about it, man, you know, the higher up you go, it's odd. Sometimes the number of people you can help is actually smaller. Because the person who's at the top, I have trouble understanding what Marco Russo and Alberto Ferrari write about. What about the person down here? So the person at the top, it's not like they have the whole pyramid. They don't. In fact, depends. And again, some people have this special skill. And Marco Russo and Alberto Ferrari, in all fairness, they do have that skill. They do take extremely complex topics and they do simplify them, but still it's not for everybody, right? But if there's, so Marco Russo and Alberto Ferrari, they're not the only ones at the top. There are others that I know. And some people I do know who can only talk to this audience. I mean, I hear them talk, but they don't reach anywhere here. So yeah, you don't need to do everything. You don't need to, kind of get somewhere, right? So I'm a big believer in like right now, live right now. So peace, happiness, love, money. It's gonna sound weird. Like anything that you need, you already have it. I know it sounds crazy, but it's right. So you already, certainly forget about the money part. That one is tricky, but. Yeah, peace, love, happiness, you have it all inside. You have it right now, and you experience a life right now. Your present life is practice for your future life, right? So live it the way you would live it in the future. If you want to spend more time with family, that's a goal. Don't make it the end goal. Don't make it like conditional. Don't put it in an if-then clause. Like, if this happens, if I start earning this much money, if I get this promotion, then I'm going to spend more time with family. It needs to happen right now, right? Because otherwise, you're going to kind of get there, and guess what? You're going to be maybe happy for a second, and then you're going to get set another goal. So the goal is not to climb at the top of the mountain. if you were to ask me, I think the goal is to just serve, my friend. Just serve, right? And doesn't matter if you discovered Power BI yesterday, you have an audience you can serve. You have an audience you can serve. If you discovered Power BI yesterday, who can you help? You can help the people who haven't discovered Power BI. And folks, this is life-changing. I mean, that's why I get passionate about this, because Power BI is a tool, but it's a tool to change people's lives. I mean, it changed my life. And I was stuck in the data dungeon, cranking out reports. It's not a good life. There are two things that's going on in your life. You're overworked and you're underappreciated. And it changed my life. It changed those things, but not by itself, right? The way you use it, the way you leverage it. So it's fine. Gain knowledge, join my course. I would love for you to join my course and join the community and all that stuff. But then serve. And you serve by basically solving problems for others around you and kind of helping them and all this sort of stuff. And yeah, so start applying it, and sure, you're gonna get stuck, but obviously, I mean, I provide the different levels of help through the course and all that. Doesn't matter how you get unstuck, but that's where the real power is. The real learning comes from doing, and it's the impact that matters. If you go with this mindset, our thoughts create a reality, right? So if you're always thinking, if that's the thought in your head all the time, it's like, I need to get better, I need to get better. Guess what's going to happen? Well, that's the only thing you're going to focus on. So when an opportunity comes by, you wouldn't even see it, right? You wouldn't see it. You would not see it. It would not be visible to you. An opportunity comes by to help somebody, to work on a project, to work on a significant project. What are you going to be saying to yourself? The same loop that's stuck in your head. Oh no, I'm not ready. I need to get better. I need to get better at Power BI. I need to get better at Power BI, right? Instead of that, let's change it, right? So again, live in the now. And you can declare, so we live in a funny world, my friends, that rules have changed. You don't realize it. This is what you need to be an expert. You need to hang a sign out there. You need to declare that you're an expert, right? So, and again, so when I talk about the thoughts create your reality, so there is an experiment which I've mentioned a few times. I mentioned it in my course as well, where they put money inside books or magazines, right? And the folks who were primed to be kind of optimistic, if you will, right? They found they were more likely to find the money. So it's the same way in our life, right? If you focus your mindset the right way, you're going to spot more opportunities and you're going to be more in a position to take action. Simple. All right. So you've seen this like twice now. I mean, Shane Barr, what an incredible example. And he was stuck here, but frankly, that doesn't matter. He was doing it. He had stepped into the arena. That's where the action is. Right? You can practice swing, go fight that wooden dummy all you want. But man, when you don that armor and you step into that arena and you're facing, your opponent, data or whatever, that's the real stuff. That is the real stuff. There's nothing else. There's nothing else that matters, So, and yeah, kudos to Shane and Sean. They're both doing it. That's the good stuff, my friends. That's what I live for. Yeah. All right. Cool. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now, and check in. Let's see. So we're gonna restart. Yeah. So sorry, the phone call resets every. Man, this is 3 hours, folks. 3 hours. Now this is pretty awesome. This is great. Let's see. By the way, I've. Yeah, okay, cool. Let's see. Rajat, we'll pick it up. And okay, this looks like an easy one. So I'm looking forward to this one. Shane was up at 3 a.m. Australia time. Love that. Okay, so let's see if we can help Rajat. One elementary question. We have 1 to 2 report authors and approximately 25 report viewers. Ouch. I know where this is heading. Which kind of licensing should I go for? All Pro 2 plus 25, 2 Pro plus 25 free users, premium. Yeah, my friends, your options are, I think, more limited than you might think. Oops, not there. So we'll say 1201. Power BI licensing, 2 authors 25 viewers. There's no viewer license in Power BI. Free users, you can't share any report, so it doesn't work. Actually, I should take that back. So the way I've been taught, and frankly, I have forgotten who taught me this, but it was brilliant. So you don't have to pay to share Power BI reports. You can share Power BI reports for free. But this is the keyword. This is the catch, right? Hey, they have to earn their money some way. You can share Power BI reports for free, but publicly. So share Power BI reports publicly is free, but unless you have working with a public data set, I don't know, you work for UN or something, if you want to share it securely, that is paid, right? So there's no viewer license. Actually, I should take that back. So the general model is it's paid. So basically, if you have 1 to 2 report authors, 25 report users, you would be, if you're going for Pro, you would have 2 plus 25 Pro licenses, which is obviously going to be 27 times approximately $10. You can get them slightly discounted as well if you, I don't know, talk to a Microsoft partner and such, $270 per month. And, licensing is tricky. So of course, folks, for maybe Rajat, it may or may not apply, but folks, licensing, I don't talk about licensing when I talk to my clients. It's odd. Sometimes it comes up right at the beginning, and my standard answer is, why would you even care about that? Do you even know that it's a tool that you would consider, right? Just evaluate the tool. So, and we've talked about that before. It was really good. Who was that? Let me find it really quick. Was it here? No. Anyway, so yeah, don't start with figuring out licensing. Evaluate Power BI first. Just go with Power BI Desktop. Give it to your data geeks, data gurus. So that's one option. So you said that's the only one. Free users, they wouldn't be able to view the reports. And there is premium, but that is for a much larger. That only makes sense for like 500 users or more, because the starting cost is $5,000 per month, and it can go higher from there. And this is capacity based, but it starts there. So that's it. You might hear something cheaper called Power BI Embedded. It's still costly, I think. Yeah, but I wouldn't discuss that here. So yeah, that's what would help. Okay, cool. So let's see if there was any other stuff. Yeah, Ryan. So I've worked with Dynamics, maybe not AX. Dynamics has like a few different versions, so I've worked with some. Frankly, I just connect to backend SQL Server, and that's easy. So the odd thing is in Power BI, I'm pretty agnostic about the data source. I couldn't care less if the data is coming from SQL Server Web or something, as long as I can connect to it, because this democratizes data sources. So earlier, if I was connecting to SQL Server, I had a very different set of functionality available to me. And of course, I was a business analyst, and some of my data sources came from SQL Server. So I taught myself SQL query, and I could do magic in SQL. SQL is amazing, right? So I could do that. But if I was connecting to a CSV file, suddenly my options were very limited, right? Power BI isn't like that. Again, it democratizes data sources. You could be connecting to a SQL Server, or you could be connecting to a CSV file. You have the exact same ribbon available to you. You have, right? So you have the exact same set of functionality in the ribbon or in the formula bar and M function, whether it's CSV or SQL. So in a way, I don't really care where the data is coming from. What I care more about is the model. So that's what my focus is to kind of, this is not a good example, but let's go over here. Right, so I would focus on kind of the model. So my one piece of advice on Dynamics would be that when you start looking at the SQL Server, I don't know which stage you're in, then what happens is there are lots of tables in there. Just start small. Frankly, that's general advice for Power BI anyway. It should be agile BI. Start small, minimum viable product, and then kind of iterate and expand from there. The first project is critical though, and I want you to select the low-hanging fruit, something that was hard. It's something that's hard, easy, hard or impossible in the old world, easy in the new world. So start there. So yeah, so that's kind of my general advice. Hopefully that helped. All right, folks. So let's have people call in. Let's try that again. So folks, there were some good questions, and frankly, I don't want to be. It doesn't show me the timestamp, unfortunately. So I don't know when they came in, and well, if you're not here.
Avi, this is Greg on the phone.
Say again.
Avi, this is Greg on the phone.
Hey, Greg, how you doing? Yeah. Did you have something on your mind?
I just want to add another layer to Rajit's question or scenario.
Yes.
With the 27 users, and this is an issue I run across serving other clients.
Yes.
And that is we have separate tenants or domains. And trying to get the 25 data consumers or report consumers the information they need is very difficult. How have you I know you didn't want to go fully into Power BI embedded, but what has been the success for embedding behind a portal or a website?
Well, hey, if you're going to leave me there, I'm going to go there, right? I mean, I don't have Rajat on the phone, so I don't want to talk about it if it didn't apply. But let's go in there. So 12:08.
Because it has to come up for those of us that want to do Power BI consulting.
Yeah.
Do we have to have pro licenses and
so
in every tenant we work in? It's very hard. That's very cost prohibitive.
Well, so let's. Okay, I know this can be challenging. I'll give you one scenario, and it's possible that your scenario would be different, and then we'll come back and talk about embedded. Yeah. All right. So Power BI embedded is a great option, but it's a different path. It's you different licensing and all that stuff, and we'll walk there if we need to. But this is how I sometimes work. Right, sometimes. So again, one scenario may or may not apply to you, but let's say I start working with a client. Let's come up with trying to think of a company. Gosh, I must be hungry. I'm thinking of McDonald's. Some good company. Xerox. I don't know. Xerox. Okay, so I'm working with Xerox, and the odd thing is, and this is what I love, is that when I'm working with big companies, I'm still working with a small company because I'm often working with this pocket of some analyst somewhere, finance users or something like that. And I was like, hey, right? I mean, just small, right? 10 or 20 people. So I'm always working in a small group, and I love that. So I'm engaging with Xerox, and then they say, hey, Power BI, and then maybe I show them a demo using Power BI desktop demo. So this is kind of an in-person or online demo or something like that where I'm driving it, right? And I say, hey, what do you think, right? And of course, in the meanwhile, I've loaded their data, work with somebody in there and say, hey, what do you think? And say, yeah, great. So I say, hey, cool, let's run a pilot. So I'm always about kind of minimum viable product. Let's just test it 5 users. So I say, hey, great. Select 5 users. Mostly, I already have them in mind. When I'm working with somebody to build this proof of concept, I'm like, hey, which 5 users would be key, would consume this data and give us feedback. So we identify those 5 users, and we can share that with them, and we can do that on the pro trial, right? So actually, there are 2 paths here, so we'll explore both. So one is a pro trial path, and sometimes this is more. So if we are going to go do the pro trial, I usually try to make this a bigger set. So let's say 30 users. So if I know that, right now we're going to start with 5 maybe, but then with 30, then if I'm doing the pro trial, I make it 30. So I build something that's going to be valuable. Again, still V1 small, but that's going to be kind of valuable and relevant to a bigger set. And then one fell swoop, I start everybody on a trial, right? or instruct them how to, and then everybody is on a trial, and I don't remember, maybe it's 30 days, maybe 60 days. I sometimes hear that they let you extend. But then everybody gets to use it for 30 to 60 days together, and then I have the licensing discussion, and I say, hey, what did you think? Do you think this is valuable? Well, this is great. Well, then great, awesome, good to hear that you liked it. But then you would need to buy pro licenses to continue that. And yeah, so if a big set of users have seen value, usually like 30 years, $10 a month. I mean, it should seem peanuts to them. And again, it doesn't always happen, but that's all right. There's one other path which may apply in a different scenario, where I do show them a demo and I say, hey, do you like it? And say, yeah, can you give, I don't know, Steven, John, and Jane access to it? So let's say we have small set of users. Always start small. And I say, awesome, great. And 3 to 5 users. Awesome. I get their names, get the emails, and then I set them up on my own PowerBI.com service. And I set up a domain name. So let's say my company name is Learn Power BI. So let's say Learn Power BI dash customer, clients, external, something like that. So I set something up like that. I set up a domain, and then I give them 3 accounts. So Steve at this, right? Or maybe it doesn't need, yeah, something like that. Steve, Sean, and who's the third one? Jane. Glad I remembered. So I set up their account, and then I say, great, the report that I shared with you, you can access it at this link and use this username and password. And I often don't even say anything about PowerBI.com or licensing or anything. I just say, yeah, this is how to access the report that I showed you. And I just give them the link, username, and password. And I eat the cost of these $30 per month. Frankly, if they're consulting with me, then, at least on a regular basis, it's immaterial. Now, of course, at some point you would have to cross the bridge, and when they come to you and they say, hey, we need more users to access it, at some point, so you can't delay it forever, but you can, at some point you're going to have that discussion, because if they say, hey, now roll it out to 500 users, you don't want to eat that cost, right? So that becomes a little tricky. But I generally feel that delaying the price discussion is better, and here's why. Because often when people look at pricing, they're looking at pricing kind of in isolation. They're just looking at the price tag. What I want them to focus on is also the value. And if you ask me, the best way is to just demonstrate it. I just show them the report. So the more I delay the discussion of pricing, the more I know that it's going to be a quick discussion. So what do you think? Does this help at all? I mean, we can go into Power BI embedded, but do you think you could try some of these approaches? Well, there are only 2.
I've actually used both these approaches, and while they're very successful for groups of 30 users, the projects I'm on involve Active Directory user groups, SharePoint site, and 300 users. So it's in the not so Goldilocks zone.
Yeah, well, if you're at that level, do they have Office 365 by any chance?
Yeah.
They do?
And some have E3 subscriptions, some have E5.
Oh yeah, that's what I was getting to. So of course
E5
includes Power BI Pro. Well, but
now some are still on Office 365 like Pro Suite,
so
which does not include.
Yeah. So what would happen if you go to them and say, hey, great, I mean, I'm happy to help you with Power BI, but guys, you gotta get licenses.
Yeah.
Really, what would happen? Like, what would what would be their reaction? Would they drag their feet? Would they hem and haw? What would happen? Or maybe you've already tried it. So what did happen?
Well, what happened was for $10 a month per user,
yeah,
that was too cost prohibitive just to consume a report.
yeah,
It almost, the cost of Power BI was more than Office 365. Once you get to a level between 150 and 300 users.
yeah. And what if they switch to Office E5 license? Would that be kind of less costly than 300 times 10, or?
Yeah, that's kind of how the discussion went in that direction.
Okay.
We're still waiting for I guess, because I'm involved with enterprises, right? These aren't small companies. These are.
Yeah, so times
We're
300 is.
We're opening up huge IT questions.
I feel ya. PowerBIPro.
Things like we can't even create work spaces within our tenant. And we have to track down who the admin center, who allows workspace creation, and then who allows the sharing of underlying data.
Yeah, but that's all beyond the licensing, right? That sounds like, hey, how do we kind of organize?
That's down the road.
Yeah. But that is definitely kind of down the road for anybody who's walking this path. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you start dealing with. Like, how do we organize workspaces? I know the other day somebody was asking, like, we have the same model, we want to put in multiple workspaces, and it's like legitimate ask, but we talked about. So yeah, and there's version control and change management, all that sort of stuff. So that's all good, and frankly, that's kind of cut and dried. I mean, there is, well, not everything, but yeah, for a lot of these things, they're like, yep, you do it this way, and that's okay. But licensing, I'm just going to take some notes here based on what you said. PowerBIPro is cost prohibitive. Office 365 E5 does make sense cost-wise. So if somebody was already consuming Office and they wanted Power BI, then it seems like E5 is the way to go. So in the... Yeah, what is that? So hey, really bonus points for somebody who can help me figure out the term. Oh, actually, I figured it out. I think it's called the uncanny valley robot, something uncanny. Oh yeah. Oh, love this. Thank you. Okay. Let's actually try this. So Greg, do robots freak you out? I don't know if you watch science fiction and stuff. Robots taking over.
No.
They do or they do not?
They do not.
They do not? Okay, cool. But there's this thing.
Kind of funny.
So frankly, I don't know if it's going to affect me, but you remember the Terminator movie and what? But anyway, so what they have. Hold on, all the Terminator movies. I know we're getting a slightly off topic, but oh gosh, it's late in the call. Come on. Movie wiki. Yeah, let's see. Series. Terminator franchise. Oh, nice. Let's see that photos. Oh, dang it. No photos. Oh, anyway. One more try. Oh, okay, cool. So, well, yeah, it's slightly sinister, but so the odd thing is, well, as long as they're not holding guns, if they're not holding guns, if robots look like robots, we're fine with that. And if the robots looked exactly like humans, as they do in the later Terminator series and stuff like that, so then that's good too. But scientists talk about this uncanny valley where they're almost human-like, but not quite. That apparently just creeps the shit out of people, you know. So yeah, you right. So if they look like robots, it's great. If they look like humans, that's obviously great. I mean, I don't think we're there yet, but there's this uncanny valley. As we start approaching, like looking close to humans, it like totally, you know, scares people. Like, whoa, what is that thing? So I think Power BI has its own uncanny valley, where it's awesome for small businesses and it's awesome for large businesses. But unfortunately, there's this dip right here, and it's right around the mark that you're at, where you have a few hundred users. Hits can get really sucky. I mean, yeah, the pricing just, and you're in one of the favorable scenarios where you do have Office 365 in there, but imagine an organization which does not use Office 365, but yeah, so that is a problem, and frankly, I don't have like a solution. And the odd thing is that this March 15th, we're going to talk about future of Power BI, and I want to bring in all the stuff. I want to be like open and agnostic. And so I had been to the last year's Microsoft MVP Summit, and I asked people 2 questions. And these are the leaders, right? Microsoft leaders all over the world, amazing people. So I asked them how is kind of Power BI doing in your neck of woods, and I would get pretty much the same response, which is like, oh, it's growing like wildfire, and of course it's growing at different speeds. Like if you talk to somebody in South America or kind of the Mideast region, yeah, I mean it would vary compared to US or Australia or something else. South Africa is really hot, by the way. Power BI, Israel too, has always been, but you know, relative to themselves, it was always growing really fast, right? So, but then I asked them that, well, everything looks great. How do you think Power BI can fail? And people would laugh at me and they're like, nah, you know, it's all set. But I think, of course, so I have this line that I use: your strengths are your weaknesses are your strengths. And I think, I mean, there is a path, and I'm not saying it'll happen. I think Microsoft has amazing leadership in place right at the top with Satya and James Phillips being the Power BI leader and so forth, and a very competent team. But yeah, that's certainly the one that you're experiencing. The uncanny valley of Power BI licensing is one of the things that I hope they resolve somehow. So sorry, I don't have a great solution for you, but I promise that any forum that I get, I'll raise my voice for this. I'll speak on your behalf. The MVP Summit is coming up, which gives us an opportunity to get the year of the product team. And by the way, Matt Allington, he was a guest on one of the earlier Talk Power BI. He's a fellow Microsoft MVP. He spoke very passionately in those meetings about this. Yeah, partly because I mean that's the typically the client set he's working with, but yeah, uncanny valley of Power BI licensing. So Greg, yeah, well, I hope your client, you can kind of herd them in this direction, Office 365 E5, and that works out. All right, folks, we were doing a phone call. Let's try that again. Uncanny valley. Okay, boy. Let's. Where was I? Talk Power BI. Oops, not this one. Oh. Okay, let's go over to the chat box and let's check in. Yeah, you guys are still hanging on. Okay, so folks, maybe it gets harder for me to read stuff in this one, but call in. Let's try this. So dial in. Okay, Rajat liked the solution, and Ryan has a question. Ryan is asking. Let me kind of copy that. Actually, that's a good point, Ryan. I mean, I know of companies who do it this way. So my understanding is that you can create subscriptions in PowerBI.com service and email it to folks who don't have a license. So if you go over here, I'm gonna launch, but again, I mean, it's like a half solution, not ideal because it's not interactive and so forth. But I'm sure, and yeah, I mean, there are companies that I know who are using this. I think it's okay, and frankly, I see it as an interim step before they do sign the licenses. I mean, anybody who's using Power BI and using it the right way should be seeing immense value from it. Yeah, right. I mean, if you're doing it right, then it should be like changing a business, turning it upside down. People will be going like, whoa, this is amazing. Where was this? So if you're doing all that, then at some point, yeah, the licensing becomes kind of a no-brainer. And even for, so that's the path that I hope you guys are working on. But you can, let me switch to a nicer sheet. You can subscribe users to dashboards and also reports, and I don't think they need to have a, oh, there we go, yeah, subscribe. Yeah, there we go. And I don't think you need a pro license here, and you can of course make it a DL, a distribution list, so that it goes to a whole bunch of people. Actually, let me think. Well, for that, I think you need Active Directory. Okay, so I'm not crystal on that, but certainly you can access. So John at Avi Singh, yep. So you can subscribe others. As far as I know, this works, unless somebody else tells us differently. So they will get a snapshot. It'll be in their email, and they can see it. And yeah, so that's viable. All right, folks. I don't see a new question. Let's do a last call questions. Of course, the phone line is open if you want to dial in. I just posted that link there. Otherwise, if I missed your question and you would like to get answered, just post it again. I'm gonna, I don't know, do a countdown. I don't know. We'll talk about something to just wait, because I know there's a little bit of a lag to give you time for that last call in question. Oh yeah, I forgot. I totally forgot. Let me do that, and maybe if there are no questions, we'll kind of end there. So I said we have changed our team meetings. These are internal team meetings for Team Avi. We start with the hashtag win. I forgot it this time. I usually ask the audience that, hey, if there's a win, you share that with the group. This can be incredibly powerful. And this can be big or small, and frankly, I don't care if this is personal or professional. So it could be nothing to do with Power BI. Oftentimes, frankly, in our team, we talk about, oh yeah, I went to the gym, I played with my kid, I played with my niece, or something like that, right? I played with my dog. So it could be that, could be big or small, could be personal or work related, professional, right? That's not the point. It just, again, it's about that mindset, about getting in there. And so you say, hey, hashtag win, and when you share, you're sharing it. So some people think like, oh, is it like boasting? It's not like boasting. It's only boasting if you think that way, right? I mean, if you were like, oh yeah, I'm that's awesome, right? I mean, if you're not thinking that way inside your head, then it's not boasting, right? So boasting is kind of inside your head. It's not in what you say. And when you receive somebody else's win, you always see it as not as comparison, not like, oh gosh, what's wrong with me? Look at everybody having this success. You see it as an example of what's possible, right? So you say, yeah, if they can do it, I can do it too. So we missed that. If you do have a win, I would love for you to share. Let's do gratitude, and frankly, the way both of these things work best is where you don't come prepared. So I've told my team, don't come prepared like, oh yeah, I'm gonna mention this win. And now the way to do both of these, the win and the gratitude, is just to let your mind go blank and see what bubbles up. So I'm going to quiet my mind and see what bubbles up. Oh, gosh. So, yeah. These days it's been her dog. So we got a new dog, relatively new dog, October. So every time I feel grateful for her. She's yeah, she's still a puppy, but she's amazing, and it's kind of magical to frankly have a dog in her life. I didn't grow up with a dog, and I was the one dragging my feet for a long time. Kids, of course, wanted a dog. And I feel thankful for that. Lately, I'll admit, oftentimes both my win and gratitude have revolved around the dog. Like, oh, I want to walk with the dog and something like that. So yeah, that's been great. Okay, so we got one question. We'll make it the last one. Oh, more about licensing. Wow, man, that maybe, you know what? Hold on, let me make some notes here. So what did we talk about? Man, we did talk a lot about upcoming Talk Power BI topics, and we talked about women in Power BI. Oops. And jobs was coming up, and then licensing. So Vasu's saying, I recently come across attaching workspace to premium. This way, as long as the content is premium space, free users can consume. Not sure this is possible, only for enterprise license holder. Yeah, so premium is definitely a possibility, but again, that's why we're talking about the uncanny valley. The price for premium starts at $5,000 a month. So if you are willing to spend that much, and what you buy is you buy capacity, right? So you buy basically a server, your own server, which runs your Power BI reports, and then you can put as many users on that. So you can have unlimited free users. Again, it's limited by capacity. So if you run out of capacity, if a user like hitting it every day and every minute, and then it's going to blow up in your face, then you're going to have to spend more, $10,000 a month or higher, right? Depending on what. But maybe if it's just sporadic, then you can pile on. You can put 10,000 users. If you're barely using it, then you're going to just be this. So if you do have that, Vasu, that's good. Yeah, that's awesome. So, and then you can attach it to that capacity, and then now you have unlimited free or viewers, you know. All right, so Reed, okay, I said one more, last one, but I see Reed's comment. Hi, Avi. If I use remove duplicates on the table in Query Editor, then go to the desktop of the relationship to make a one-to-many relationship with another table, theoretically it should work, right? Yes, it should. Make sure you remove the blanks as well. So lookup table, to be a lookup table, yeah, the key needs to be unique and non-blanks. So yeah, it should work. Okay. All right, folks, I'll sign off. It was awesome hanging out with you. And yeah, man, just keep going on, right? Small steps. If we get a little bit better every single day, where are we going to end up at the end of the year? Awesome. Power on.